Don't want to have that music kill my stream too. Okay, this isn't the full start. This is just the pre-start. But we are live. We'll start the clock widget. There, that's going. Okay, that's professional. That's professional. We're set up there. Let's see what this has. Okay. Anyone who is watching, I'm just waiting for some people who are on Hear Me Out stream who look like they're going to be coming to join the beginning of this. If you're watching this on replay, feel free to skip ahead about 10 minutes and we'll get to the real show. Just doing some audio testing. The audio has not been to my liking in the last couple videos. I think we improved it this morning. I think I'm on a 12 decibel boost now. Looks like I'm hitting the red zone with my highs, but not too high. My stream is live. Thanks, HMO, for yours. Boom. All right. So now I leave that. I enter my own chat. Where's my own chat? I'm pretty sure I'm live. Oh yeah, that's me. That's me. That's my chat. Carolina Hurtado is here. All right. All right. Things are happening the way they should be. 8 minutes to go until the show. Go ahead and take a break. I know that the Hear Me Out streams are not they're not short, so go take your bathroom breaks. I won't be doing anything entertaining in this first 10 minutes. At least I don't think it'll be entertaining. If you believe, no, okay, I'm sure this is streaming fine. Yeah, because I can see myself. Okay, good. Let's just do a quick run through of all of the screens. Okay, so audio's working. This is the show start screen. This is the pre-show ad. This is the wrap up from the morning show. This is just me. Hi. This is the main show. Intermission. Stop. You're not supposed to play. Okay, and that's how we're closing the show. So those all work. Back to the test. Good. Meowgarita. Welcome, Meowgie. Good to see you and Carolina and the other 5 members of the chat. Smoke them if you got them. I just bought these. Should have a fun evening show tonight. I'm going to try and take it a little laid back, just for full transparency. I stayed up all night to do the morning show, and then I slept all day to do the night show. So this night show is my morning show. But I'll try and keep up the energy because you guys don't want a sleepy morning show. But that's kind of my trick, to be wide awake in the morning and a little low-key in the evening. How is everybody doing? We've got about 6 minutes left on the clock. 14 in the chat. My goodness. Well, that's a good crowd. Why don't I see... One reason I might not see more chat is because I'm on top messages instead of all messages. That fixed things instantly. Classified crime, Gen V2C2C, pretend judge, dabs for dummies. All of you were hidden by top messages, which is, those are all fine people, the finest and dandiest. If you're in the chat, make sure you're on all messages so you're not missing out for messages from classified crime, Gen V2C2C, pretend judge, dabs for dummies. And Meowgarita, Carolina Hurtado, you showed up. Could also be because you have memberships to Dan-D, so thank you very much for being a part of it. Hey, Compass Realty's here. Fantastic. Everyone just keep an eye out for any gardeners so you're not being stalked by the Compass Man. Bedtime Lullabies is here, likely asleep soon. try and keep my voice to sleepy tones and keep me bedside for the entire show. I'll try not to go too hard with the siren. Welcome, Vel73. Still about 5 minutes away, so smoke them if you got them, especially if you just bought them. Alright, so the chat's doing well. I don't need the backup. Let's check the sound effects. That is loud. Okay, let's do a little pre-siren. See how that does. We're going to try it. Okay, if I don't go full, I'm not maxing out the red bars, and I probably won't kill my audio. Billie Jean, welcome to. So if you're ever interested in my lives, Billie Jean, I try and always go on Fridays. My thinking with that is by the time it processes, you guys have weekend content. You can watch the morning stream at whatever time is morning for you. Same thing with the evening stream. It also lets me off the hook for the weekend, so I don't need to do new content. I just have to wait for my content to process and upload. So, it gives me the weekends off. Is there an initiation? Speaking of initiations, actually, Compass, did anyone see the video of those, God, must have been 50 kids in a basement somewhere getting hazed at an American college? And the police come on the scene and like, okay, everybody out. And I guess the kids were so well trained that, doesn't matter who comes here unless your, frat leader tells you to leave, you don't leave. They're all like half naked, like wearing boxer shorts, smeared with shit and like other. It was quite a scene. AG Tactical did a good video breaking it down. I definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't seen it. Tonight's agenda, what are we talking about tonight? I've got 2 Cowboy Criminology videos that, these are the last 2 videos that Cowboy Criminology made. Each of them are an hour long, although he kind of goes off track. So the first one is about when Sarah went pro se. He shot it in July, the end of July, so July 30th, 2024. And about half of it's about Sarah, and then he talks about another local case, which is sort of interesting. We'll play it by ear, how much we listen to of that. He does tie it back to Sarah at a couple points, so we might listen to that whole thing. I don't think we should do that hazing process for Chad. I'm Canadian. I don't understand hazing. I understand networking and being part of a frat so you can have connections as you get older, but I don't understand why you have to stand around in your underwear while somebody's snapping you with towels in order to make those friends. So I never got into the frat life. And the second video he did is in September of 2024. So this is just before the trial, and it was just when James Owen swooped in. And I was re-listening to that video last night, and I think it'll be really fascinating to talk to the Cowboy about once he starts doing streams with me. So if you didn't see that last week, Cowboy Derek is the host of the videos we're going to watch tonight. Stopped making videos about a year ago, focused completely on finishing law school, but I've been replaying his videos. He's gotten a bunch of new subscribers to his site. He was excited about it, sent me an email, so now we're in touch, and I think he's going to guest host with me going forward, which is fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. So let me just put this out here. I see we have just over a minute left, so get ready for my pre-show routine. Let's see, I've got my script here. Okay, there's that. Got my chatters here. They can stay. Yeah, you guys can stay by the script. I'll put you down there. Got my sound effects. Ready. Okay, got that. Okay, that's good. 1 minute remaining. 1 minute to go. 1 minute till showtime. All right. If you guys want to haze Compass Realty in the chat just so he feels like he's part of the crew, go ahead, just don't get yourself, automatically timed out or anything. Quick note to mods, I'm not a heavily moderated community, so if the people are being trollish but still funny, let them get a few words in. If they're trouble, then, go ahead, regulate. what else is happening here? 20 seconds left. Not much is happening. Got to get ready to go to the next screen. Okay. All right, this is exciting, isn't it? Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? Coming to you live from the Dandy True Crime Bunker. Let's get ready to ramble. Hey there, and welcome to the show. We started early and we're finishing late. It's after midnight in Ocala. Do you know where your heirlooms are? All right, let's get started. Before we get started, I'll bring you this little advertisement. If you're not watching my shorts, this is, well, maybe you'll watch this and go, this is why I don't watch his shorts. But I've got 2 shorts here. One is about Corey Richins. The other is about Sarah. Here we go. Launch it and play it. Well, it's quiet. Is it playing? Oh shit, it's not even playing. I'm wondering why it's quiet. This is a story all about how my life flipped, got turned upside down. So I'd like to take a minute, please sit and stay, to hear how I was almost the princess of a place called Midway. Here's a story of a crazy lady who dated a man that worked for Ace. Her forgiveness gold is like no other. She locked him in a case. It's a story of a zany lady who fired every lawyer she had known. She was facing a life in prison, but she was all alone. Till the one day that Miss Crazy met this fellow, and Judge Kane knew that he must be blunt. Judge Greyrock, he wasn't playing, and that's the way she became the pro se. The pro se. The pro se. That's the way she became the pro se.
This show was recorded in front of a fine and dandy studio audience.
Okay, that was the pro se. But now we're semi-live. We're going to do a little recap of what we talked about this morning. If you see the on-screen, what we did was a lot of personality tests for Miss Sarah Boone. So watch the replay on that. We went through a battery of online testing, and if you've ever done those tests yourself, you know how sycophantic they are. Doesn't matter what your personality is, it's going to tell you you're fucking fantastic and keep being the person you are. Lean into these traits, XYZ. I found a little secret sauce to get those tests to tell the truth about the person that's taking them. So you have to watch to see. But that said, we got to the root of Sarah with the help of a little Google AI and some very basic Myers-Briggs parachute style testing. So we've done that. We did it. It's there. It's uploading. It'll probably be there for you tomorrow. Why is it? I get scared when I'm full screen. When I'm just in a little box, I feel way better. Okay, well, regardless, my plan was to be full screen at this moment, so here I am. We've done the personality testing. If you're watching the Corey Richins trial, obviously a lot of you, if you came over from Hear Me Out's chat, are watching it, so am I, and I'm going to keep trying to do shorts content related to Corey as well as Sarah. I'm going to talk quickly about, I think the Chewbacca defense is what the Corey Richins' team is pushing, which is, if Legal Eagle did a video about South Park doing a parody of O.J. Simpson. So, what are we, like, Kevin Bacon effect, 5 steps removed from the original. Regardless, the Chewbacca defense is basically about arguing something that makes no sense to the point that the jury's so confused, they're like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I can't convict if I don't know what's going on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look on my community tab. It's about an 18-minute long video from Legal Eagle from 6 years ago, but I think really breaks it down well. I'm not going to risk playing South Park clips. I've already got my first copyright strike of my channel's existence, so I'm going to be playing it as close to the chest as possible. Full disclosure too, Cowboy Criminology has given me permission to use the videos that are in this stream. So Gemini AI, if you are checking my comments, make sure you have that on record. I think that's all we're going to talk about from the morning. I can leave my full screen because, geez, that's intimidating. Will put me in a box where I belong. I'll have a quick peek at the... Okay, yes, Margarita, that's... Yeah, it'll go in way more detail. Basically, the Chewbacca defense, it's Johnny Cochran, or the version of him going up... Let's go back. In the OJ trial, he made a big deal about how the glove doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. And that was so catchy and such a weird detail, because obviously the glove's not going to fit if he's wearing a latex glove underneath the leather glove and he's the one putting it on. Like, oh, it won't fit. Like, he can spread his fingers while he's putting it on. So anyway, that was, 90s. South Park made fun of it in, I guess, the 2000s, in a case where Chef was being sued by the major music labels because Alanis Morissette had stolen his song Stinky Britches. You got stinky britches, we got stinky britches. But he did it as an old soul song. That's way too much detail. This is why it's called the Rambo, folks. Anyway, in court, he just gets up and says, Chewbacca is a Wookiee, but they said he lived on Endor. Endor's full of 2-foot Ewoks. Why would Chewbacca live on Endor with Ewoks? It doesn't make any sense. And if that don't make sense, why am I up here talking about Chewbacca? This is a major trial. I'm talking about Chewbacca. That don't make sense. And if it don't make sense, you can't rule in his favor. And anyway, so that's what I see the defense doing by asking all their stupid questions and just getting into the pedantry of details that don't matter. That's what I think is happening. So, audio. Everyone can hear it. If there is audio problems, put, not great, go louder, or, if you're having any issues, especially if you're a person that traditionally has a quiet phone. As far as I can tell, my audio is like I'm maxing out to where it's probably sounding shittier on devices that can play it loud. But I don't want anyone missing out. I have a shitty device, and when I was listening to my last week's streams, they weren't loud enough for me to listen to without a Bluetooth speaker. So, enough rambling. Let's take a quick look at chat. Okay. Your channel has come so far. Thank you, Pretend Judge. Yes, maybe we'll do a little recap on my channel too. So I started just after 10/10/2025. Was watching the marathon streams from Daniel Siobhan and Summa Cum Loudmouth, and decided, you know what, I'm going to take the idea. I feel like I have a lot to say. Let me just start making shorts. And I started making the musical shorts and was just having fun. And then it sprouted. I wasn't expecting to be a personality at all. I definitely didn't think I'd be live streaming, and it's still a little weird to me now. It's a little surreal to see that here I am, but here I am. Talking about me is a little hard. What else? I guess when Third Rail came out, it gave me something to talk about where it was more than just, shitting on Sarah, which, it was fun and that's all I wanted to do. But I think there was an interesting ethical conundrum to discuss around that. And I just felt like there was things I had to say that weren't being said. And once I added my voice to the conversation, I couldn't shut up. So that's where we stand now. The channel's growing. I'm committed to doing 1 year, and that's why I first started watching Cowboy Criminology. Before I started my channel, I did a lot of research into channels that did Sarah Boone content, and his was a channel where I was like, fuck, he knows what he's talking about. he's still just got, a couple thousand views on his video. Like this video we're watching now. Let's see. Oh, he's up to 623 subscribers. That's great. Can't see. But it's about 1,300 views, so, not a ton. But he was uploading these when we were getting all the new details on the trial. Like this is when Patricia Cashman was standing up in court talking about how shitty it was to work with Sarah. So we weren't watching deep dive content into the past, and so quite like me, he was getting to the party late, and he kind of got overlooked in the shuffle. So I kind of decided to take a different approach with my channel, but I wanted to do a lot of the things that I saw him doing right. And anyway, that's what attracted me to it. He quit after a year, and it was to do law school. I'm not doing law school, so don't worry, I won't be quitting after a year for that. But I admired the fact that he continued going right to the end, and it didn't matter whether he was getting 20 views on a video or 2,000. He was putting the same effort in. He was, head down and work. So I appreciated that work ethic from Derek, and his insight's fantastic. Coming from a law enforcement background, going into a law career, he's got a lot to say. So let's just let him introduce himself on this, and I'll take a break to have a nice beverage and coat the throat. That sounds like it should be a saying. I don't know why it isn't. Okay, so video capture, browser, interact, press play.
Derek Judd, the Cowboy Criminologist, here with Cowboy Criminology. So last week was enormous for the channel. I was looking, and we had 35% growth in viewership on the channel, which is absolutely fantastic. The watch hours shot up. This month alone is responsible for over 1,500, almost 1,500 hours worth of viewership. And if you're kind of following the growth of my channel, that's pretty good. So, you know what? Thank you very much for taking the time to look at my channel and for taking the time to really watch the video. Some of y'all are doing deep dives of my deep dives and pointing out things that I didn't really think about, or things that I had missed. One of the things was Sarah Boone messing with her fingers before the crime scene tech came in, the forensics tech came in and did the fingernail scraping. That was good. That was if you don't know to look for it, or you happen to blink or turn away or move your head, you really do miss it. But several of y'all posted in the I think Ladybug did a good job. She posted exactly where you can see that, and a couple of others of y'all did too. So when I do these analysis, y'all, I'm not perfect, and I do make mistakes, and I can't catch everything. And sometimes I get so focused on what I'm trying to say or what I'm looking for that I do get my facts mixed up. I do get things kind of messed up. But I want to throw a special shout out to Dealey. Dealey commented in response to kind of defending the behavior panel about their take on it was that the detectives were continually talking over Sarah, not letting her answer questions. And I noticed that, y'all, that's just kind of a universal evil. It's not really, doesn't really pertain to law enforcement conducting interrogations. In regard, this is almost going to be a cell phone here, have been a content creator.
I'm going to pause him quickly because, well, first to thank Pretend Judge. I didn't even realize he sent out some gift memberships, so love that. Thank you so much, Pretend Judge. Congratulations to Tika Anna, Pine Weaver, Reby, Clackums, Paula Nichols. You've all received free gift memberships thanks to Pretend Judge, so thank you very much. very quickly on that. Rather than super chats or super stickers, I'm only using memberships. So if you want to give more than the minimum $1 a month that I can charge for a membership, or $1.50 in Canada, give a gift membership to someone else in the community. There's lots of people that can't afford to be buying gift memberships for YouTube. I'm not going to ever paywall my content, but so yeah, if you want to give, then give to the community. It ends up being the same to me in the end, but then more people get to be part of this community and have the green names and badges, and that can rotate around for the people that aren't buying memberships that are still part of my support group. So that's what I recommend. That's what I do there. And because of that, anyone that does give gift memberships, you get a free super chat. So whether you have something in mind that you want me to say during the stream, or you can post it to my community page. So pretend judge, if you want to post, hey Dan, read Psalm 27 through 43 on your next stream, yeah, I'll read it. I'll read a passage from a book and then do some fair use commentary, so I'm not on copyright. I'll sing one of my songs live. If you're giving gift memberships, treat it like a free super chat, and it's going to be a super chat because you won't be limited by how much you can say. And what the reason I wanted to interrupt Derek here is he's very humble as well, and it's something I really wanted to make part of who I presented from myself when I'm on stream. I find it very endearing to see somebody that has knowledge, has chops, and still is willing to hey, I can improve here, and I don't do everything perfect. Yeah, it's this kind of content I like watching, so it's the kind of content I want to produce as well.
We have this idea that in our society that because we have these social media platforms where we have a voice, we have a following, we have something, we feel like our opinion is the only one that matters. And it was funny, I was walking through the grocery store today, and it used to be that people would like move their carts to the side, or if there was a large group, they'd walk single file to make room for other people to get by. And those are just common courtesies from a bygone era.
Just getting quickly, pretend judge says he's not going to, or he or she is not going to make me read Bible verses. Some of the Bible verses are pretty racy. If you pick the right ones, it could be quite entertaining. A lot of that Revelation stuff, all the fire and brimstone there. And
when I was checking out, the cashier asked me a question. As I tried to answer it, she completely cut me off.
Okay, the vid is louder than me. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay, I can see. Let me take a quick pause to fix my own audio here. Okay, yeah, because I had a 12 boost on it, but now it's not showing a boost at all. So let me kick that up. Thank you very much. Troubleshoot me in chat. Don't be afraid to tell me if it's not working for you. It's not good for you. It's not good for me. Okay. This should be at my full volume again. Interact and play.
And I never got to finish my question.
Balance good stuff.
And so it's almost like, okay, well, I didn't know if she really needed to.
I see what happened.
Know an answer to that question, if she was just making small talk, or I don't know. But anyway, be that as it may. So I don't think that's anything. I think that's just kind of a symptom that exists.
Okay, so what I did was turned up the overall volume, so mine went back up to where I started the stream, and then I went into the video and reduced the volume from the source. So I see he's not maxing out 100% now, and neither am I. I hope it's better. I see some thumbs up. You are louder, but vid too loud. Well, okay, let me just touch it down a little bit more. We'll go from there. But I think I did video too loud. I saw what was happening there.
Exist right now in society.
Still too loud.
We've kind of gotten away from realizing that other people may have things to contribute. And
how's that?
And Dealey, you're absolutely right.
That even seems
in an
a touch
interrogation, the most important thing that detectives can do is listen. A lot of good information was getting lost, and I think less so towards the second part of the video because, like I said, the interview started to circle. It wasn't getting any better for Sarah. It was actually just getting harder and harder to watch. But you could tell that the detectives started to get fed up. And matter of fact, you could actually.
The detectives get fed up at the exact same rate that Derek gets fed up doing the commentary. You can see a few times where it's just. She's exhausting. He has so much more compassion for the detectives. Like, there's so many people that like to shit on the detectives for talking over her or interrupting. And I really like the way that Derek's like, they did fine. There's nothing I would tell them to do differently. Like, sure, try not to interrupt, but you know, you got this, you've got all the evidence and she's lying to you in the face. How can you not? Like, you just told us you don't drink. Yeah, but I was obviously drunk.
If you run the video back, you could probably timestamp exactly where each detective just said, you know what, I'm done. And then Mr.
Chelsea
GST 360, he caught me on something. I missed this, and I got.
Our S's are popping. Sibilance. I don't think that did anything, but I hear guys doing that are audio techs.
My facts wrong, and you know, I don't mind. Y'all, this is an open dialogue channel, and I will message back with everybody. I tried to do a good job getting to my comments and doing thoughtful responses, especially when y'all take the time to leave really, really good commentary.
I would recommend, if you guys like his stuff, go over to his page, find one of the videos we're watching tonight, leave a comment underneath. I know that he's really a little flushed with all the new attention he's got for, you know, having not done anything with his page essentially for a year. So yeah, share any flowers you've got for him. He'll comment, and he appreciates a thoughtful one.
But Mr. GST, you're absolutely right. So when I talked about...
Okay, the static in the vid I can't do anything about. If you've watched some of this series, his past audio has been way too quiet. So I think he maxed up his gain. It's like, fuck this, I'm every time it's too quiet. So he did kind of the same thing I'm doing, where my bars are showing me in the red, but I'm just tripping the red instead of sitting in them. His he's maxed it, so we just have to deal with that. I'll pause it enough that it shouldn't get too annoying.
George being trapped in the suitcase, I suggested that he might have come down with carbon monoxide poisoning. Well, that's only something that happens from an exposure to a chemical. All right, like a gas leak.
He's gone back and forth on this, but I've got to give him credit. He was one of the first people to pick positional asphyxia as being probably the cause of death. He returned to it because of the he's purple, and then thought maybe it was a carbon monoxide thing, but he's waffled back and forth on it because of people in the comments telling him maybe it wasn't positional asphyxia. So I give him credit for, you know, not being so locked in, because he, you know, doesn't know, he was just speculating, but full credit for being the first to speculate exactly the cause of death long before the trial. Like, this is months before we got the autopsy.
Or something like that would cause, or what else would cause that? Anything that would leak carbon monoxide, like people who will try to use certain grills or charcoal grills inside, that puts off carbon monoxide, which is why you don't do that in an enclosed area. And so that would account for somebody turning red. But I watched the video back, and Sarah actually asked why he was purple, not red. Okay. And so this leads me to believe that I was off on my cause of death. And so, knowing what I know now, I think he probably had asphyxiated because of positional asphyxia, being locked in there. A couple of times, the suitcases has been moved. And so I think just being in that cramped position, and it really doesn't take a whole lot to induce positional asphyxia. As a correctional officer, as a police officer, paramedics, firefighters are all warned to look out for positional asphyxia, because even some of the most mundane positions, if you leave somebody there long enough, you can cause that to happen.
A good example of this in first aid classes, when I have to do, it's a very basic level of first aid. It's you're basically learning when to call 911 and how to do CPR. You can do basic wound care, but you're as a first responder, it's like, oh shit, that's bad. I can tell it's bad. Call 911. Anyway, the CPR portion of it, I'm a bigger guy. So when I'm kneeled behind the head, like as the head positioner person, I can feel like everything all compressed in my lower body, where it's just uncomfortable. So I asked the teacher, like, am I able to have my legs behind me? Like, can I lie out and do this? And they said, that's fine. But it makes the point, like, when you're crunched up, especially, well, as a small person in a tight space, but even a large person that's maybe bound, you can suffer positional asphyxia just from your lungs not being able to expand. You don't need to be in a container. It's the way snakes will kill people, like boa constrictors.
So, Mr. GSD, you were absolutely right. That was a good catch on your part. And y'all, I'm not a proud person. So when I make a mistake, I own it, because I think it's a lot easier to listen to somebody who can own their mistakes and learn from them than it is to sit there and listen to somebody say, well, I wasn't really wrong because what you're failing to, and then they give you some long rambling explanation, and it just makes you realize that maybe they're not as good at what they're doing as they like to think they are.
Rambling,
and so, but you know what, Mr. GSD, good catch. You were absolutely right. You got it, and good job. And that just shows how much attention y'all are paying to these cases, and good on you. So now, Cool Brader did an expert level troll, and I don't know if Cool Brader did this on purpose or by accident, but I'm going to read you what Cool Brader sent me in the comments section. I like your videos because of your law experience. Your analysis of how Boone was questioned was thoughtful. By the way, will you be volunteering to be her new lawyer? That works on so many different levels.
This is why I recommend comment on his page. He's not just a person that, hey, thanks. Just the way he breaks down this comment is it shows that how thoughtful he is.
Because on one hand, Cool Brader almost seems to be implying that I will be through law school before this case ever goes to court. And on the other hand, I think I've pretty much shot myself in the foot doing an analysis of this of the Sarah Boone case, just because it is so, man, it is just so difficult to watch. Just when you're.
This is what I like about him too. Of all the commentators, there's a lot that I love watching it and make, and I'm one of them, or make no bones about it. I could watch the interrogation every night if that's, it wouldn't be torture. Like, oh, you like it? Now, what if you had to listen to it every night? Okay, yeah, that's fine. His viewers asked him to do this, and he's doing it for, the love of the game and his own viewers. And the fact that it got like tenfold response over his other videos, he's like, fuck, I have to keep watching this miserable cunt.
Just when you're ready to throw her a bone and say, okay, maybe this could be what happened, and maybe this whole thing has an innocent explanation. And then she doesn't make it 2 sentences later, and she says something else, and you just face palm, and you're just like, all right, and now I'm back to just having nothing for you. So
I
while
got
we're on the
nothing for
subject
you.
of having nothing for Sarah Boone, she had her first pro se court appearance. Pro se meaning, of course, meaning she's representing herself and not being appointed counsel. Now, all of this, of course, comes on the heels of her firing her last 8 attorneys. And in the last video, she had made a poster. She's trying to recruit an attorney.
Him reading the circus poster was pretty funny too, because his take on it, you have to watch the end of my last video. Maybe I'll timestamp that part of it. It's a good point. Let me make a note. Well, I'll let it play while I make a note.
It does not appear that any attorney that is licensed to practice in Florida is really keen on this idea. I think even the public defender's office is just kind of sitting there going, "We tried." So now she's kind of flapping in the wind. Okay, and I'd gone back and forth about whether I wanted to play the full 18 plus minutes of the hearing, but I think after watching it, I think there's a lot of good stuff that we can actually. I think, in defense of Sarah Boone, she does raise a couple of questions that I think, if they're not addressed properly before the trial, could end up being the basis for her appeal. Okay.
Well, I love that he's thinking about this already. Again, this is July. This is well before, this is before Owens comes in, but even before his first exposure to her pro se stuff. He was worried about talking about it because he didn't really have much law school experience at this point. And this is one of the reasons I'm excited to have him back. Like, if we review old content, I think he'll have way more to say due to his recent schooling. And what a great way to reinforce that knowledge for somebody going to school than to explain it to people who, are interested in it. So I think it's a win-win for us as the audience and him as the expert. And
y'all, please understand. All right, I'm very much.
Hey, Deb Richardson.
On the side of law and order. All right.
Joshua Santiago, I saw you here too.
I don't mind. I do want to see people held accountable for their actions.
The pro se.
That being said,
the pro se thing.
I do believe that everybody's still entitled to a defense, and I do believe that prosecutors sometimes overcharge.
Good for you.
Especially with the evidence that they have. Okay.
Good for a cop saying that too, because it's always stuck with me how prosecutors are rated on their conviction rate. Like, if someone's not guilty and you're the prosecutor and you get a conviction, that shouldn't reflect well on your record. It's just a weird way of rating. Like, obviously you want people to be successful in convictions in cases where the person's guilty, but when you overcharge people just to, build your murder stats as a prosecutor or whatever, that's not a good thing. Now, as I mentioned in the last video, Sarah Boone is the true crime gift that just keeps on giving. This is now my 4th video about her, and I will be completely surprised if it's not if I don't do another one. Okay. And he does.
But she does raise a couple of interesting questions. And
I guess she does.
I had mentioned in her 58-page manifesto about her demands towards the court, she had raised some good questions. And I think when I was working for the Texas prison system, they have inmates called WRIT writers, WRIT writers. And
Sarah's
writ
a writ
writers
writer.
will help other offenders with their legal cases.
Or she's going to be one.
And these are usually inmates that have a higher level of education.
So I think his writ writers are the ones that we've heard be called jail lawyers.
Or a higher level understanding of the legal system. Now, I don't think Sarah Boone is a writ writer herself, and I don't think that she necessarily has somebody inside the jail system helping her.
Maybe outside, like a flying monkey or two. July 2024, maybe flying monkeys or 5.
But what I do suspect is that from her knowledge in the criminal justice system, she's learned enough legal terminology and she's learned how to apply enough legal terminology to be able to create a document like that 58-page manifesto and be able to throw it against the wall and know that
it'll stick.
Yeah, everything that she's looking for is not going to land. But there may be 1, 2, 3 things that hit the wall and stick, and there's not really going to be any way to get around that. And she brings up a couple points in this video, so I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet. We're gonna go ahead and start the video, and we're just gonna take a look at Sarah Boone's first pro se court appearance.
I do like checking out with every one of his videos. So this one, it took 1425. He's notorious for starting like tons of pre-chat. And it's still something that I think I need to do with, like, I'm trying to front load my live show with a little bit of short content. So it's not 10 minutes of me saying, I gotta, this is my mic good, light's good. Anyway, this one took 1425 before he actually plays a bit of the video he's reacting to. But I don't know. I love it about him.
All right, here we go.
Mr. Cacciatore?
Dave Cacciatore on behalf of the state.
Ms. Boone, good morning. Could you please raise your right hand so Madam Clerk can swear you in? Ma'am, good morning. Could you state your name and date of birth for the record for me?
Sarah Boone, 10-10-77.
I'm just noticing the audio when we're listening to the video. And if you remember from the live trial, the audio was shit. So what I'm going to try and do is boost the video's volume while he's listening. And then I'm going to pause it when he starts talking but be prepared. There might be some jumps in volume right now. So I'm just going to raise it to max and I'm going to well, no, my voice is fine, but let's let that go. All she said now is Sarah Boone 10-10-77.
We also have a representative from Prison Break Investigations. Sir, if you could come forward, please.
Prison Break Investigations, I like that.
It is a funny name for an investigations.
If you could, sir, raise your right hand. Madam Clerk's going to go ahead and swear you in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. All right, sir, good morning. Could you state your name for the record?
Billy Lane.
And Mr. Lane, what's your affiliation with Prison Break Investigations?
I'm the owner and chief investigator for Prison Break.
Okay, very good.
So really quickly, Kranick should be too loud, but can you hear Billy Lane at all? Because if you can't hear him, well, and same question when Sarah starts talking. But I know Kranick, he's the only one that's well mic'd in this video.
The reason the court had this hearing this morning is the court has found that Ms. Boone has forfeited her right to counsel and waived her right to counsel alternatively by virtue of her conduct in this case. As such, Ms. Boone is currently representing herself. The court has been working diligently to provide you the discovery. I received your letter, ma'am, and I have reviewed it. We have not forgotten about you. It's just taken some time in order to coordinate the appropriate processes with the jail.
Vel 73 points out this is a great hearing, and I 100% agree. This is kind of Sarah at her best because I think she's been pissed about getting her bed kicked at 3 a.m, and that stayed right at the front, the tip of the tip of the tip of her amygdala. And yeah, no matter what she's got on her list, she's pissed about getting woken up at 3 a.m. for a hearing she didn't know about. And then when she saw the media there, how did they know and I didn't know? It's because the prison guards didn't like you and they didn't feel like telling you before bed because you were probably a bitch or a...
In conversations with the jail, a laptop has been secured and will be issued to you after USB drives are provided with all the discovery. Upon the jail's receipt of those items, the following provisions will be adhered to. The laptop, charging cable, and USB devices will be kept in the FDC main control room when not in use. At no time will the charging cord be placed in the housing unit. Upon the return of the laptop to the FDC main control, the laptop will be placed on the charging cable to ensure it is available for the next day's usage. The laptop and USB device is to be accounted for with the control room inventory. The control room DST or CO will make logbook entries for the issuing and returning the USB device and laptop. The dorm officer will make logbook entries for the receiving and returning of these items to the applicable movement officer. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device to inmate Boone. The laptop and USB device will be available daily to you, Ms. Boone, between 0800 and 1600 hours. A notebook entry will be completed in IMS for every issuance of the laptop and USB device to yourself, Ms. Boone. The discovery was provided at the court previously and is in the 2 bankers boxes that are in front of the court to your left, Mr. Lane. I'm going to order you, sir, to take possession and custody of that discovery that was provided to the court previously on June 28, 2024. You, through Prison Break Investigations, shall copy all of the discovery onto as many USB jump drives as necessary. The Judicial Administration Commission for the state of Florida shall be responsible for the fees and costs due to Prison Break Investigations for copying all of the discovery onto as many USB jump drives as necessary. You will appear for a hearing with the court on August 1st, 2024 at 8:45 in courtroom 12A of the Orange County Courthouse with the discovery and all USB jump drives containing the discovery. A representative from the Orange County Jail shall also appear for that hearing as well. At that point in time, Prison Break Investigation shall hand deliver all USB jump drives containing the discovery to the representative from...
I think Billy Lane shaved his head fresh for the trial, like knew that the back of his head was going to get some prime camera time. That looks recent.
From the Orange County Jail in order to be placed onto the laptop that is currently secured and to be issued to the defendant for all trial and court preparation.
Real quick here too, so maybe, just to get in some gossip. Something I read on Reddit, somebody was speculating in a post, God, might have even been months ago, that Sarah stole the staples. Oh no, that wouldn't be this hearing then. But that Sarah stole the staples to cinch up her pants and, she was looking for a smaller small on her top because she had a crush on Billy Lane. But this might be the first time she's seen Billy, and so that might be the next trial where she gets in trouble for it. But I don't know, something to look for, and we can talk about in the chat.
Do you have any questions for me, sir?
I have a conflict for August 1st, Your Honor. I'm
Okay.
going to be out of state from Tuesday until Friday of next week, which I believe would encompass August 1st for my son's wedding.
Okay, well, congratulations. When do you return from your son's wedding, sir?
I will be back late Friday evening, so I'll be available the following week.
Okay, will you be able to complete that task by that time?
Yes, sir, I'll do my best.
Okay, sir, we will see you on give me a second, I want to make sure I got the date right. Monday, August 5 at 8:45. Okay, you'll be given a copy of the order that I just read from. Ms. Boone, you'll also be given a copy of the order. Do you have any questions for me?
I am thoroughly confused. Was notice ever cut online for this?
I am thoroughly confused. This is just such a great... The guard looking over at her. Let me just bring back her audio to full, because I knew the Kranick audio was loud. Okay, so yeah, let's tell us the tales of woe. Cry wolf, Sarah. Cry wolf.
This or mailed to anyone? I don't even know why Mr. Lane is here. I don't know why I'm here.
Well, ma'am, you are now representing yourself, and previously you had requested to appear at every hearing that was held. As you are now representing yourself, the court cannot have any hearings regarding your case without you being here. I put on the record and explained to you the process that the court has had with communications with the jail. I'm not allowed to look at any of that. I'm not allowed to copy any of that. So in speaking with the jail and understanding that you still have a private investigator that was provided to you through the state that's being compensated by the state, you're still allowed to utilize his services. The protections of the attorney-client privilege are still applicable to him, so he's able to review any of these documents, ensure that they are safely copied without violating any terms of the privileges. Those will then be placed on multiple USB drives and provided to you. Those USB drives will then be uploaded to a computer that has been secured for you at the jail for you to access all of that information.
Okay. My question is, was a notice of hearing posted or mailed to anyone to where apparently the news crews obviously got it?
Apparently the news crew's already got it. She's just burning. She's burning. I don't think she's even wearing blush, and her cheeks are like, her cheeks are red. She's mad.
How is it that I do not know anything about this other than my bunk being kicked at 3 o'clock in the morning telling me I have court?
Ma'am, I have no other way to get in touch with you other than setting the hearing, which was set yesterday once I received confirmation from the jail as to
stop it there at 21:45. Okay, so looking at that, so the judge is absolutely right. You know, he's not supposed to look at any of that evidence because obviously he's the judge. He has to weigh that evidence in case the case is ever taken away from the jury, and he has to be able to make an unbiased decision about it. So the other thing is with Sarah Boone representing herself, she obviously has to be at every court hearing. There's no way around that. But she does ask a very good question there. How is it she just found out at 3 o'clock in the morning that she had to be there, and the news media found out about it and was already in place for this hearing?
So I have my speculation for it because we know a lot more than Cowboy Derek did. We know from Tanika's tablet messages that she was able to get. And the inmate behavior notes. That's it. In IBRs. Anyway, she wasn't, making friends and influencing people at the jail. Like, she might have had one or two friendly jailers that gave the positive earns, but the negative earns definitely outnumbered the positives. I bet the guards just didn't care. The guards probably got message, late in the day, and Sarah flipped one of them off for, some minor thing that, she was pissed about. And they're like, okay, fine, go to bed. See you at 3. You don't know I'm waking you up in 4 hours.
Now, obviously, the judge doesn't know anything about that. He just sets the hearing, but that can be easily explained. Generally, the media will contact the clerk's office and ask them about upcoming hearings and things like that. But what Sarah appears to be doing right now is trying to raise a question of bias or some sense of impropriety, not necessarily on the part of the judge, but she's definitely kind of throwing some shade there.
Pretend judge, you're absolutely right. We did miss out not getting a full pro se Sarah. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, I've got a thing where I'm looking for submissions for what Judge Cranick could have said to her at sentencing. And I'm still getting a lot of replies as what he said was perfect. I'm not denying that what he said is perfect. I'm just saying it might be more fun if we imagine what Judge Judy would have said to her at sentencing instead of, the very terse Grey Rock Judge Cranick version. What was I going to say about this? Let me read. Oh, yeah. So I think the pro se Sarah trial would have been way more entertaining, but way more opportunity for overturned on appeal. Like she did, deserves a lawyer. Now she's contrite and, will accept one or whatever bullshit she would have given after that. But a lot easier to argue for ineffective assistance of counsel, even if she was the counsel. I think even more of a chance to do it. And she, I think that there's a fine record that there was nothing else to do, so she could have lost it too. But I think that appeal there would have been more meat on the bone of that appeal than what she's got to work with now. But yeah, you're right, pretend judge. We got robbed.
And she has very limited knowledge of what's going on. And in a case like this, I think the judge really needs to be careful about, while everything he might be doing might be consistent with what you'd call black letter law, like the absolute letter of the law, he's got to be careful to make sure that he is communicating with her to the best of his ability. And that might mean giving a little more latitude. So a lot of this is going to come to time. I was making some notes here. The discovery was given to the court on June 28th. Okay. And we're now July 30th. And of course, this was just from like 5 days ago. So there seems to be a 3-week lag time there. And to top it off now, the investigator who is supposed to be working alongside Sarah Boone and helping her out is going to be delaying that another week. And so, she's going to have about 3 weeks to review all of her evidence. Okay. And that's pretty much where we stand right here. So is that going to be enough of a legal issue for an appeal or anything like that? I don't know. Maybe not, but let's get a little further. All right, so we'll pick it up back here, 2518.
For how this would work. And I understand that your case is important, and I want to move it as efficiently, as diligently as possible. I know that you've been waiting for this information, and it took some time to confirm the process with the jail. You've advised me that you have very limited space. You have almost no privacy. You have a small drawer where you can keep some personal effects. We could not send all of those boxes with you to the jail, and the jail advised me that they cannot take all those boxes. A process had to be created to make sure, and this is the process.
The process that I was explained after speaking to...
Hold on here. So all you missed there was the process I was explained after speaking to
a couple of sergeants
and like the sergeants make the policy. Here's the judge telling her what's what and how many. Well, actually, I do have an inkling about what's what, and you're probably wrong about how many, Judge.
I've been waiting for that.
And keep interrupting Sarah. She deserves it. Thank you, pretend judge. Ex-Derek, Unicorn Rancher, Sarah Bridget, Free Soul London, Nika Hudson, you've all been gifted gift memberships from Pretend Judge. Sex Derek is in the club. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And I would much rather prefer a hard
What would you much rather prefer, Sarah? A hard copy?
copy of these to where I can write on them as opposed to anything that's on a laptop.
I am unable to provide that for you. I have been provided the process has been provided to me by the Orange County Jail.
Okay, I'm stuck there at 2622. So that right there, that seems to be an issue that could be solved with allowing her to have a legal pad. Now,
In like 6 words, he solves it. What if you just had a piece of paper and you could put stuff on there while you're looking at your digital copy? Then you could review your notes at night. But, Sarah's always up for solutions.
They are giving her between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. to review those documents. And after that, she has to turn everything back in. She can't take any of that stuff back to her cell, obviously for security issues. A legal pad would seem to be a good compromise for that, where she could sit there, take notes, and kind of ruminate on stuff. And they can't just give an inmate unrestricted access to their legal materials. It's a security issue. It's, I promise you, she's not the only inmate in Florida right now who's trying to get ready for a case. Okay. She may be one of the few who have drawn this much national attention, but anyway, that being said, she's still looking she wants the hard copies, which I can totally understand. And this is where she might need to become a more diligent note taker. And depending on what the institution's policy on writing materials and how much writing material an inmate can have, that could be a concern as well. But that's another good question. Is she able to, remember, she's her own attorney now. Is she getting what she has to mount a sufficient defense? That's going to be the question. All right. So we'll pick it back up here at 2825.
I understand that's your preference, but I can't do anything more than what I've done right now.
I understand. And I have had other information given to me, which is why I've been waiting for the boxes for them. So
Yep. Sergeants don't make policy, so that's irrelevant.
pursue continuously still for me to be able to receive my hard copies, because no one tells me anything.
I cannot answer that question because that may call for me providing you legal advice, which I am prohibited from doing.
Okay.
I love this camera angle. I wish we had this camera angle on Sarah during the trial, because you can see in profile, you really see the twitchiness. Like, obviously the witness stand was great, but when she was sitting and having to take information, this would have been a way better view of, having her watch the interrogation or, listen to other testimony.
Because I have no other way of contacting you other than in a letter, and it's AKA worldwide. So am I supposed to go back?
In a letter, aka worldwide, Pitbull called Mr. Worldwide. He wants his tagline back.
I can speak to the captain and whoever else it is that I might need to speak to in order to receive these?
Again, I cannot answer that question. All I can tell you is that we will have a hearing on August 5, whereby which Prison Break Investigations will provide all of the information on USB drives. Those will be provided to a representative from the Orange County Jail, who will place all that information on a laptop for you to use, and that's accessible for your use from 0800 to 1600.
So that's 19 days from the time she gets her information to the time her trial starts.
I guess I won't figure
19 days plus 4.5 years, but yeah.
that out, because if I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can't utilize the laptop, which is another reason why I was looking forward to the hard copies.
Like, she wants to use the laptop at 2 in the morning, and when she did get her digital information, how much did you look at? Well, not more than one, which, could be 0, and that's a way of testifying to I didn't look at any of them without actually saying none. The guard is just not even side-eyeing, she's full-eyeing, like, are you crazy?
So my other question is my time prorated for the time that I've been waiting for my discovery?
I'm not sure I understand what that means.
Will I be having...
Okay, we'll stop there at 2948.
He's going to give her credit for this, and there's a bit of credence to this. So she's like, will this delay get added to the time before my trial? But she's acting like these 3 weeks are the only 3 weeks she's had to prepare, not that she's had 4.5 years of dicking around. So we'll give Derek his due here.
Okay, so that was actually one of the more cogent questions that we've heard her ask. Is my time going to be prorated? Now keep in mind, the prosecution turned this stuff in a month ago. All right. It's going to take till August 5th for her to get all that information, and that only leaves her 19 days to mount a defense in a murder trial. Okay. That question right there, like I said, from my legal knowledge, but just based on what I'm seeing, that right there could be the basis of her appeal. Because if the prosecution has had all of this time to prepare their case because they've had the evidence, they've been able to go through it and be able to review it, and now they're giving it to her. She's not an attorney, so is she going to know if there's any exculpatory evidence that exonerates her? Is she going to know if anything has been left out? She doesn't know what to look for. Now, part of that falls under the category of her problem because of her behavior up to this point. Unfortunately, that could potentially come back and bite the court, because if the judge is not willing to grant her sufficient time to review that evidence for whatever she may find, to raise whatever defense that she's planning on raising, now we do potentially have an issue. Now, obviously, like I said, I'm getting ready to train to be a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer yet, and I'm in Texas, not in Florida. So there are some things that may apply jurisdictionally that would be a big deal in Texas, maybe not a big deal in Florida, but Texas and Florida usually are fairly complementary on their laws. So I think we're safe in making an assumption, but that right there seems to be the big thing that could turn this whole thing sideways. So we're going to pick it up here at 32:33.
Or will it be extended from the time period of me waiting for the discovery?
I'm not in a position to answer. I don't know what it is that you're asking for.
My pretrial is supposedly set for September 24th, I believe it is.
Okay, so let me just read the on-screen text for anyone who's just listening. Potential issues on appeal come down to access to evidence, access to an investigator, access to court in a timely manner. Is there enough time for her to mount a defense? So those are all things that the cowboy saw after he edited the video and added in text.
So obviously I will not be prepared, and obviously I do not know what I'm doing, and obviously I'm still waiting for my discovery.
Obviously you do not know what you are doing. Rare moment of correct analysis into her own behavior. Let's give that one more. Where are we at? We're at 31:58. Let's just listen to Sarah tell the truth for once.
My pretrial is supposedly set for September 24th, I believe it is. So obviously I will not be prepared, and obviously I do not know what I'm doing, and obviously I'm still waiting for my discovery. So for that time period that I have been waiting for almost 4 weeks now, will that be added to the time frame in order for me to be properly prepared?
As of right now, the dates are what the dates are, ma'am.
The dates
So I
are.
just missed a week. I'm
The dates are what the dates are.
And in fact, the dates were not what the dates were because of Hurricane Milton. And I'm not talking about James Owen.
So I also sent you, I believe, 5 motions. Have you received those?
No, ma'am, I have not.
But I'm looking forward to them. She should, and in all likelihood, will file for a continuance. And James did, but didn't go.
Emailed last week.
Then I have not received them yet. The last correspondence I got from you, ma'am, was received on July 8th.
Okay. 5 motions I've mailed. They're probably sitting wherever else it is, considering it takes a day for you all to receive my...
I gotta take a second to disagree with Hear Me Out here. Hear Me Out has boldly stated, and let me just read this. Sarah isn't entertaining. She is a nightmare. She has no transmission. It's one gear all fucking day, all fucking year. I got to disagree. There's something about her that is entertaining. And, you know, I can't disagree with the fact that, like, she does the same thing, but it's almost like Carrot Top at his prime. You know what he was going to do. It's prop comedy. He's going to come out. But sometimes, in spite of yourself, you laugh. Gallagher, smashing fruit. You knew he was going to smash a watermelon. You came in the front row wearing your, you know, rain gear, looking like the guy off of the old sea salt commercial. But sometimes you have a good time in spite of yourself. And for whatever reason, of all the horrible people that I'm interested in the true crime world, you know, the Grant Amatos, the Jared Murphys, the Lori Daybells, the Ruby Frankies, I don't want to watch them over and over. And for whatever reason, I can get into it. So respect your opinion, hear me out, but we'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
My mail, considering I'm right down the street from you all. So I have those also in order, which may change whatever information or anything that I...
All right, stop there, 33, 38. All right. And right there, she does such a good job raising a potential legal argument, and any sympathy, it just disappears 2 sentences later, because, you know, she's almost implying that people are deliberately slowing down the delivery of her mail and everything. Well, you know, Congress can't even control the U.S. Postal Service, so I don't know what Jedi mind trick she thinks the judge can pull. But that right there, those little insinuations, those are not helpful to her. And I don't know why she hasn't figured out, well, I mean, if
Okay, I'm taking another interruption because Hear Me Out's putting some great comments in the chat. I'll give you this one. Carrot Top wasn't the best example, but was trying to figure... I was looking for an extreme, someone who's not funny that, you know, surprises you with the odd, you know, shit, that was good. Maybe someone else wrote it for him, whatever. I'm not saying he's funny, but if... Anyway. Lauren Armstrong calls are always funny. Same with Diane Down's parole hearings. I think we should do a stream where maybe we team up and, you know, it's Hear Me Out and Derek on the Lauren side, and me and, you know, another Sarah streamer on the other side, and we talk this out proper debate style, like a structured, you know, Oxford debate with opening statements and rebuttals and, you know, Robert's Rules of Order or whatever the rules are for a debate. But I think there's a lot to talk about there. So, and a lot of room for different opinions. And, you know, with our community that tends to agree on a lot, I think it would be a fun discussion that doesn't need to split one side. Oh, you're a Lorney? We're not talking to the Lorneys anymore. I think we could agree to disagree and have a good time with that. Anyway, we'll get back to the video at hand. Great comment there. Hear Me Out. Did I lose it?
If she was as smart as she thought she was, she wouldn't be in the situation that she's in. But those little digs and those little quips really takes away any reason anybody has for wanting to help her. All right, so we're going to pick it up here at 34:51.
In between now the month less that I have in order to prepare for my trial, that's in October. So if you could keep an eye out for those also. I don't know who I'm supposed to ask. How did Mr. Lane come into any of this?
Captions.
Like, how is he...
Mr. Lane has been your investigator in this case.
Quickly, there is some on-screen text. I'm just going to read that. Turn off the captions. When was he appointed? How long has he been her private attorney? Was there a delay between his appointment and when she had a PI? Okay, these are just questions from the Cowboy, and I think we know most of these. But we'll go back to Sarah here.
And he was advised to attend this morning's hearing by virtue of being provided the discovery in order to digitize it so that you can have access to it.
The court contacted him?
I did not contact him.
Am I allowed to speak to him directly?
You can?
Mr. Lane, who contacted you in order for you to be here, please?
The JA contacted me.
If I'm pro se and my own attorney, shouldn't I be included in all of this so I know what's going on and not a surprise hearing like it is again for the second time?
Ma'am, again, this is why there were
Fair question.
benefits to being represented by counsel.
There are advantages to being represented by counsel. Sarah does not want to hear that.
The court has already identified in its 16-page order the reasons for why you no longer have those benefits.
Right. Which
It
is
makes
not
things
warranted.
exceptionally more difficult, as I explained to you, in communicating with the court and communicating with the state attorney's office.
Isn't that what a certificate of service is for anything that's filed by anybody in the court?
There was,
Should be included in that.
ma'am, there was no certificate of service for setting this for today. This was coordinated by the JA. You were advised as soon as it was set. It was set yesterday.
It's just very odd to me that the news knew about it before I did.
Again, I can't speak to that.
And another example of Sarah being front concerned with the tip of the iceberg that's inverted. So it's, I don't know, under the water. Point being, she's got so much more big issues to worry about. And she's worried about, not getting a certificate of service for the hearing that she's already at. Like, what's going to be done? Like, okay, well, we'll send you one. We'll send you a copy of the form you should have got yesterday so that, you can have it with your records.
And so nonetheless, my constitutional right to counsel is being forfeited on
What constitutional right, ma'am?
your behalf in the court. So now I don't get appropriate notice in preparation for me to be able to be here and doing what I'm supposed to be doing and act as and perform as?
I've already addressed the reasons, ma'am, for why there was a forfeiture and alternatively a waiver in the 16-page order that you were provided. Again, it's difficult to communicate with you based on where your current housing is. I'm not able to pick up the phone. The judicial assistant's not able to pick up the phone to communicate with you or send you an email.
I'm going to rewind about 10 seconds just because of the little Sarah, the moment that we don't get to rewatch as much as some of the other Sarah content. Where were we at? We're at 3608. 3603 will be, no, we'll go back one more. 10 seconds. Just watch your chin move around here.
You based on where your current housing is. I'm not able to pick up the phone. The judicial assistant's not able to pick up the phone to communicate with you or send you an email to schedule certain things. And it leaves a little bit of a level of further complication.
How is it the news knows before I do?
You keep asking the same question and the answer is going to be the same. I cannot answer that question for you because I do not know.
Okay, but you do know it's
Okay.
harder for me.
I would agree with that, yes.
And you do know that you did not ask me any questions in regards to your order. You just read it straight off and never asked me what's what or how many, if anything, of it.
Ma'am, if you have questions, I can certainly try to answer them. I'm trying to facilitate you getting that information that you're certainly entitled to. And it took time for a process to be created by the Orange County Jail, as they had advised me. They do not have a place to store 2 banker's boxes of information, nor are they in a position to provide you physical copies. This is what I've been advised as the process is. As soon as that process was finalized, I set the hearing. This was finalized yesterday.
No one ever asks me. I've been waiting for the boxes.
No one ever asks me. I've been waiting for the boxes. You weren't supposed to get the goddamn boxes.
I really don't know what to say, and because I supposedly have no way to contact you other than a letter, and the same for you, I don't know how the news crews got here before I did. But I don't know.
Speaking as a journalist, the news crews got there because they have a job. They do their job. That's how they knew. That's how they got there.
So going forward, how is it that I'm supposed to be able to communicate with you other than me sitting here in front of you at these, I guess, supposed surprise hearings that I'm going to have every single time that it is that you would like to speak to me? Is that...
Basically, if you're a journalist that covers the court, you have a relationship with the court clerk, and you're probably calling every morning, hey, anything interesting on the docket today? And if you're covering the court, you're already there. It's just a choice of what courthouse to go into. So, she's acting like, oh my God, why is the media here? It's like, you're a public person who did craziest crime in Florida, which is a lot.
What it's going to be?
Ma'am, I cannot answer that question. All I can tell you is that you can communicate with the court through the avenues that you've been utilizing previously, by and through letter writing. As I said, I do not have your letters that you sent last week. They're not in the court file, and they were not in my inbox yesterday.
But you know Judge Kay's looking forward to those.
So as soon as I receive them, I will diligently review them, and if we have to set a hearing, you'll be properly noticed for it.
In the certificate of service.
You'll be properly noticed for it, yes, ma'am.
And will there be a proper notice for today?
Notice was performed
Hey,
last
Rita.
night. I've already explained.
The news crews, how they got here?
No, ma'am, I'm not going to let you do that. They're not under oath. They're not a party to this action right now.
It's wrong and it's unfair.
You certainly entitled to that opinion.
Am I allowed to ask him a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Lane, how is it that you and I are supposed to be speaking to one another?
I'm going to throw a can over the wall. It's got a string connected to it, and you'll talk into the string like this. And if I hold it up to my ear, you'll be able to hear what you're saying.
It's a good question.
Question would be, since you're now the attorney pro se, that either you or your honor gives me access to the jail to visit with you, and I will be happy to do that. It is the policy of the Orange County Jail to have a letter from an attorney to allow me to access you. That's the reason for the past previous attorneys I've not had the ability to come out and access you. So that's changed. And I would be happy to continue to move forward with any investigative actions I could do for your defense, as long as I can get that access.
So you need a letter from me.
Or the judge, or the jail, somebody that will allow me access to you. Yes, ma'am.
And I send it to you directly?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a letter also that you'll be supplying to him?
I don't know that I'm in a position to compel the Orange County Jail to do anything.
That you are the ones who contacted him?
But I can't tell the jail, let this person come talk to you. If they have a policy where you need to provide the letter, then you need to provide the letter.
So until you have that letter, you and I will not be able to speak with one another?
I will contact you and find out if there's an exemption for pro se, or maybe they can speak to you directly to circumvent the actual letter itself.
One of the things I love about this hearing is there's inklings of reality settling in on Sarah. Like, having no one, like, I don't think she thought this was going to happen. Regardless of the fact it didn't end up happening the full way through, it is kind of nice to see her having to just sit in the moment.
Ma'am, do you have any other questions?
I don't think you have enough time. I'm just doing my best, and if you could please keep an eye out for my motions.
I will be on the lookout for them. You said there were 5, correct?
Yes.
I will be on.
So please include me on the certificate of service for whatever hearings that we have that are no longer a surprise for me, please.
Understood. You'll be given a copy of the court's order that I read.
Okay, so we'll stop it right there at 4130. Yeah, she does a good job raising a question, and that's something that's really important. Is if a judge already recognizes that something is an issue, and you keep browbeating it, it's going to become less of an issue. But she has raised a couple of good points. You know, the delay in getting the discovery. Is she going to have extra time? Now, an independent investigator has been assigned to her case who's supposed to help her, but now she has to go through all these extra steps in order to be able to contact this individual. And
I'm going to give Cray Cray for Kranick a shout out in the chat. Cray Cray for Kranick, who's here in our chat, is one of the commenters on Cowboy Criminology's videos from over a year ago. So Cray Cray for Kranick was doing deep dives when we didn't know about this guy. Like I didn't know about him, and new to a lot of you. So yeah, credit to Cray Cray for Kranick. You were on board the Cowboy Criminology train early.
what are what are the policies for the jail for a pro se defendant meeting with a private investigator on their case. You know, a lawyer has substantially more latitude, but are they required by law to afford that same opportunity? So anyway, these are the type of things that I think could potentially lead to Sarah Boone's appeal. You know, it's as far as a criminal procedure case. If you were looking for a case to study and really kind of learn what criminal procedure looks like, this would be a good one, because there's so much nuance to this, with everything over the last 4 years just getting to this point. All right, so we're gonna switch gears and we're gonna move on. So League City, we had talked about. I did a video 2 or 3 weeks back asking if there is a serial killer in League City, Texas. And of course, this comes off of a woman being found suspended from the dock in the marina, who was already dead. So it was a staged crime scene. And I did a video before that, and we looked at the news clip, and we listened to 5-6 minute interview with the boyfriend, and you notice I left it pretty much. I was 50-50. Like, if the cops had taken him in.
Okay, so we'll do a quick poll here. This is where he starts talking about the Giselle Salazar Tapia case. So it's a little off topic, and about 20 minutes of that. So we can go to his other video where he's talking about Sarah Boone. We can continue watching this. The Sarah Boone video that he does next is from 6 weeks later. It's his last Sarah Boone video. It's done in September. It's as the new lawyers are coming on, so that's kind of fun. I think there's an interview with James Owens that I don't remember listening to a lot, and I found it very interesting as well. So what do you think? Do we let this one finish out, or do we? What do we want to do? So yeah, let's stay or go. Let's do it like the song. Is that the Kinks? Should I stay or should I go now? If we go, there could be trouble. Hear me out, asks, and while we're voting, the reason we're watching this is a commentary video from a channel of similar size to mine that I wondered why it went offline. He got up to about 570 subscribers, had some great takes on the Sarah Boone case, but most of his videos were between tens and hundreds of views. His Sarah Boone videos had a couple thousand views. And he had insight that just wasn't well known within the community. So he had a different take on it. He wasn't, he was saying something different. So I started reviewing. First I did a channel review and watched one of his videos. People were interested. I watched the second one. He contacted me, and we're going to be doing future content together. And that's why we're watching these videos now. But what do we want to do? Do we want to continue watching a little bit about Giselle Salazar Tapia? Or do we want to move on to the next one? We've got a vote for go from Billie Jean. I'm not trying to create buzz, hear me out. I'm just happy to do what I'm doing and enjoy everyone's company that wants to spend time here. There's a lot of things I could do to be a spectacle, and I do some of them. If you want to see me dancing, there's a video of me doing that. If you want to hear me singing, there's a video of me doing that. It's no DJ Ron, but I'm happy. I have a good time. Yeah, no, it's okay. Hear me out. This wasn't a... I find that you got to watch the videos on their own. Like when you're watching a commentary of a commentary in a live chat, there's a lot going on. But this is out there for posterity. There's people being exposed to a channel. Yeah, I think we're moving on. So what we'll do, we will close this window. We're going to take a quick intermission. This intermission is, I don't know, is it 2 minutes long? It's 2 minutes long. No? Yeah, it is. There we go.
I think that I shall never see a bitch as foul and crass as me. A bitch whose putrid mouth spews bile, with every breath ever more vile. A bitch who speaks of God all day, yet acts satanic in every way. A bitch who kills without a care, in shorts and peppermint patty hair. A moron, paradoxically vain, whose only joy is causing pain. Prisons are made for hags like me, bitches who deserve not to be free.
That was a Charles Grieve poem.
DDPC presents a Boone's Farm playlist the whole family can enjoy. Next time you gather for a sing-along, join in with instant classics such as
Ronky the red-nosed bear clown. Can't get drunk but still she does. All of the other bears frown, watching her catch a buzz.
But that's not all. You'll also get Christmas in Lowell. Will Sarah get run over by a reindeer, please? And I sing for Wing Wings. Plus this classic.
Wish list with questions for scoundrel detectives. Wine glasses full of Woodbridge white wine. Smoking and drinking in pink shorts Muldoons. These are my favorite fun things to do.
Yes, with the DD Holiday Collection, you'll get all this and so much more. Here comes Kim a Carolyn. It's that fish soap season. And walking in a winter park wonderland. And we can't forget,
Give me some cash, I need some cash. Give me some cash, I need some cash. Give me some cash, I need some cash. Give me some cash, I need some cash.
Give me what I want for Christmas. Give me what I want for Christmas. Give me what I want for Christmas. Give me what I want for Christmas.
subscribe to Dandy True Crime today and make sure the holiday collection is part of your Merry Christmas season.
Allow 11 to 12 months for shipping, not valid in Hawaii or Alaska, void where prohibited.
All right. We're live. We're back. The audio seems like it's here. We're on to video number 2. This video is also an hour long, which means we've got probably an hour and a half left in the stream. Maybe up to 2 hours. Let's just get started. Interact and play. Okay.
They want to be very criminologists. So I want to thank y'all for kind of bearing with me. You know, I'm 5 weeks into law school, started my 5th week, and between family commitments and, as you can imagine, a whole lot of studying, there's just been a lot going on, and I kind of explained that in the last video. I was trying to kind of get on more of a schedule as far as my videos and stuff go, and I'm still trying to work that out. Time management is key.
That's loud.
So there have been some comments on Cowboy Criminology that you never see me wearing a hat. And
Sorry for the initial loud. I think I've got it balanced. He doesn't have any static in this video too, so it's going to be the best audio quality of the night, I think.
Like I said in the last video, I never really thought about it because, as a general rule, I don't wear a hat indoors. And but anyway, in case you were curious, yes, I do own cowboy hats. This one is one of my favorites. It's kind of a Texas tradition.
Might have to skip a little bit. If you guys want hat advice, I think he talks about hats for about 5 to 6 minutes at the beginning of this video.
Now it looks like she's put together a legal team. She's got her.
Mad Hatter is the company that he recommends. So if you do want a good cowboy hat, go to Mad Hatter. He also gives the advice that you can wear a straw hat during the summer and wear your felt hat in the winter.
An email to Cowboy Criminology or to Cowboy Criminologist at yahoo.com and just ask for a special request video. I can start putting those in some kind of order where I could start getting to those. And moving on from there, y'all, I thought I was going to be done with Sarah Boone.
Never done.
At least until October. But what have I always said about Sarah Boone? She is the true crime gift that keeps on giving. And nowhere is that more evident than somebody actually, an attorney, a very qualified attorney, I might add, answered that cheesy little ad that she did. But that wasn't without some issues. That wasn't without some reservations on the part of the attorney. But now it looks like
Modern Meme Stop. If we're still around at the end of this video, I'll at least put on for a final video little long dong Oolon Johnson. Oh, Don Piano. It's my favorite viral cat. Not the keyboard cat. Rest in peace, keyboard cat and Oolon Johnson.
she's put together a legal team. She's got her primary attorney and it looks like she has a second. Now, when she was talking about doing that, in the last video we did about Sarah, we were talking about how Sarah representing herself sets the stage for appeal. She's been big about talking about discovery, and I know a lot of you have said, she knows what's in the box. She knows what's there, and she knows what's not, and I'm inclined to agree. A new attorney coming into a case has an effect. And while, yes, we understand that everybody wants to see this trial get underway. All right. The judge probably leading the charge on that. The judge probably wants this trial over with more than absolutely just about everybody except for George's family. But like I've told y'all in the past, we got to make sure that due process is actuated, and that we're doing everything by the book. When I was a supervisor, my officers caught a DUI of a very high-profile individual in the community.
This is a good story here, yeah.
And I kept having the officers go back through and redo their reports because things that didn't match, timelines didn't match, who did what didn't match according to what was on the body camera. And I had an officer tell me, the report doesn't matter, they're going to see the body camera. Okay. Sure. What happens if the body camera video gets thrown out? What if the audio from the body camera gets thrown out? What if the audio gets to stay, but the video gets thrown out? Mm-hmm. It's very, very hard to challenge body camera video that matches perfectly with a well-written report. So the next excuse, the fourth or fifth time I had the officers rewrite their reports, was that he's just going to get away with it. He always does. Well, those officers handed this individual his very first DWI conviction. And judging...
Now, I'm going to question him quickly here because he tells this story. Great that he got the conviction by making the officers do the report properly. But I have to question rewriting a report several times. Like, if they get it wrong, then I don't know. You don't want someone who did a DWI to be getting away with it, but you also don't want to be reworking the paperwork so often that it's the 5th or 6th draft that ends up being the official version.
Judging from his past behavior, it's not going to be his last. He has a very slow learning curve. But that's the thing. You've got to do... Yeah, I get it. I get it.
You know what? Just because people have been so good in the chat, we're going to take a very quick break. I can come right back to that. But I've got a cat video here that is just for happiness. So we'll play this. This is about 30 seconds long. My favorite part about the video is how the cats, like, they know what the bell does. They're looking like, where's the treat? You heard the fucking bell. Anyway, that was cats in hats ringing bells. Let's go back to...
The airport rush was normal until a little girl did something no one expected.
Shut up.
She walked through the crowded terminal holding a woman's hand.
Shut up. Go away. That's why I don't do things on the fly. I'm not fly enough to do things on the fly.
You want to take shortcuts. You want to save time. I get it. But do you want to hold people accountable for the crimes that they're committing? You know, do you want somebody who habitually drives while they're intoxicated out on the same roads where your family drives, rides their bicycles, walks to school, walks to church? I know I don't. So it's worth it to do it right. All right. Now, on the other side of that, I tend to be very centrist on this channel, and I tend to call out what I think is the good and the bad based on my opinion, training, experience, and education. Sloppy police work doesn't get a free pass just because it's police work.
That's the way to do it.
Bad police work is bad police work.
I wish more experts treated it unbiased and actually acted like an expert rather than, you know, part of the team.
At the same time, good police work needs to be recognized and acknowledged for what it is. And not too long ago, I did a video about Justin Timberlake getting stopped for a DWI. And everybody was like, oh, this...
Interesting side story here. And this, you know, we're 10 minutes into his Sarah Boone video where he hasn't talked about Sarah Boone, but, and this is maybe a reason his channel didn't take off, but we're here for the long haul.
This case is going to get kicked. A lot of the talking heads were like, this will never see a courtroom. I was like, oh, you're right, because he's going to plea.
Or, which I guess because he was planning to come back tour at the time, but always seemed like that would be the perfect thing to say if I ever got a speeding ticket. Well, there goes the tour.
So just one of those things. Good police work needs to be rewarded. But by doing good police work, you're able to hold people accountable. All right. So we're kind of learning a little bit more about Sarah Boone and her new attorney. Now, her new attorney has over 35 years of criminal defense practice. And this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing for Sarah Boone's case. We've pretty much already established that a plea bargain, while not completely outside of the realm of possibility, there are certainly things that are a lot more likely to happen. But the good thing about this is now the judge doesn't have to worry about safeguarding Sarah's rights as a defendant. He can just run the trial, which is great for him because he shouldn't have to do double duty. The other nice thing about this is,
so Billie Jean says it's good.
Is a competent
says it's good that hopefully he works on getting to the point quicker because the ADD is struggling by now. And I think that's where we could make a good team is I can be fairly high energy, but also don't have a whole lot to say as far as being an expert. So I think I could help facilitate a quicker back and forth. Derek, he's in law school. He doesn't have time to fuck around with setting up the stream and setting up videos and doing production parts of it. If he can just focus on sharing his expertise, I think he's going to be a lot better of a guest. And I think the two of us synergistically could work very well together. So, yeah, that's just what I have to say about that.
Defense can certainly lower the risk of having something come up in appeal or having something come up in appeal that wrecks the prosecution's case. Now, with this great news that, Sarah Boone's kind of putting together new representation, there's also a concern that I have. Okay. It's the same concern most of you have when, she was on lawyer 5, 6, 7, 8, and here we are with 9 and 10. My concern is that Sarah is going to tell them something they don't want to hear or can't be done, and she's going to start this process all over again.
Which
now the nice thing
sort of tried, but
yes, there are some fundamental facts of law that are going to come into place, but eventually this trial is going to have to get underway.
Exactly.
And Sarah's not going to be able to keep hiring and firing her attorneys at will without any repercussions.
Exactly.
So let's take a look.
Where are we? 12 minutes, 45 seconds
kind of where
to get
we're at
started
with this,
in the video.
Excuse me. Where we're at with this whole thing. And I want you to kind of get a deeper understanding. Then I'm going to kind of throw in my 2 cents. So
13
let's check this out and see what we've got.
That is, of course, our top story for you this morning. So
this gets good now. So what I would recommend, like if I was recutting his videos, that he started here, record the video, but then put this at the beginning and put what he had at the beginning at the end. If that's what it takes him to warm up, that's fine. And, maybe there's good stuff in there, but start with the good stuff. And here we are, 13 minutes. If you stayed around this long, it's getting good.
So many of you interested in the suitcase murder trial, right? And we've seen delay after delay after delay. And, well, guess what? This morning we're seeing that Sarah Boone may have a little help in the courtroom from an attorney from Pensacola, Florida, who is stepping up to represent her. Now, if you remember, she's gone through 8 lawyers previously and was essentially made to represent herself.
For the reasons that the court identified in its 16-page order previously entered, your request for standby counsel is denied.
So Sarah Boone then created an advertisement. Remember this? She advertised for an attorney to help her, and it appears it worked. Because on Friday, attorney James Owens filed his notice of appearance and then immediately filed a motion asking for a continuance. In the motion, he noted that he was drawn to the case after, get this, seeing her advertisement from watching Court TV.
Do you think he saw it, or do you think it was like Margaret or someone in his office that saw it and like, hey, we could get a gig here? It's even crazier. I feel like he saw it. It's like, oh, she's speaking to me.
About that. Now, in an interview with us, Owen says, quote, she hired me. She retained me. It's a little different because it wasn't someone who was handed to her. She picked me. I plan on seeing it through, and I'm determined to help her see it through. End quote. All right, we'll see what happens this morning. Let's talk about this. I've got 2 great guests standing by. The Director of Prosecution Projects at Florida International University. She's a former homicide prosecutor. Melba Pearson is with us. And want to welcome back in forensic psychologist, expert witness, Dr. Michael Brannon. Great to see you both.
Michael Brannon, okay, that's not the wrestler who ends up being an expert at the trial, is it?
Oh boy. Okay, so the likelihood, let's just assume that everything works smoothly. He shows up at court this morning. The judge notes that he is now counsel of record. Will he be given a continuance? Melba, what do you think?
Yeah, good morning, Julia and Doctor. I think that he's going to get that continuance. It would be an appealable issue, I think, if he doesn't, because he's brand new, just stepping into the case. He has to have the opportunity to read the file, prepare. If he was just retained on Friday or basically in the last couple of days, there's no way he can get up to speed to effectively try this case. So I think a short continuance will be given to him. Now, I don't think it'll be 3 months or something like that, but I could see a scenario of a couple of weeks to a month in terms of a
1 week, Hurricane Milton. That's all you'll get.
That date in order for this trial to finally move forward.
Sure. Appreciate it, Melba. I have a little bit of the motion for continuance we extracted just to see a little bit of what he says. And get this, he talks about meeting with Sarah Boone 4 times at the Orange County Jail already. And he says during the meetings, they discussed exculpatory evidence on her phone, which they hope.
Exculpatory evidence on her phone. So this is pre-trial. This is September 17th. So, the news reporters don't know how culpatory the exculpatory evidence is, but
will potentially corroborate her battered spouse syndrome defense. Dr. Michael Brannon, this is where I want to bring you in. We all saw you testify in Marsha Thompson's case, and you were really the star of that trial, the breakout star of that trial. Your expertise really shined. Looking at this case, and I know you haven't personally evaluated Sarah Boone, but based on what you know and the facts we see them, do you think she could be successful on a battered spouse syndrome defense?
Well, good morning, Julie, and Melba, too. Good morning. So it's a very difficult defense, even when everything is all put together nicely for the defense to occur. And there has to be a number of different elements that fit in order for the battered spouse defense to be successful. And in this particular case, there's a reason why people go through a lot of different attorneys. Some of them may just be stall tactics. Some may be trying to establish a certain defense. But attorneys may be, and again, I didn't talk with her. I don't know that much about the case. But attorneys may have already told her, listen, you don't meet the elements of this, or this is not going to be successful, trying to give her the benefit of their legal knowledge and background. And she may not have been willing to accept that. She may have heard from other inmates or family members, or she may have seen it on TV and thinks it may be a good idea, but the facts of that, the elements may not apply directly to her case.
Appreciate that, Dr. Brannon. We know in one of the motions that her new attorney filed, he said that he's looking for additional discovery. And of course, that caught our attention because we're thinking, what else is there? We've been talking about this case for years. Melba, you've given us analysis for years on this one. What else could possibly be there? It seems like Sarah Boone is hung up on discovery, quote unquote. We've seen her, there before the judge saying, I'm not being given everything. I'm not being given everything. And, looking as a spectator, someone who's on the outside. I'm not part of the case. I'm not the prosecutor. I'm not her defense attorney. I'm just scratching my head because we know there were 2 people at that house.
And one of them's dead.
The 2 of them when this happened, and she created the most incriminating evidence by filming him and not letting him out of the suitcase.
That's the biggest irony of all, to be whining about your discovery when you're the person who's provided 90% of the evidence. 99%? 99 and 44 100%.
Melba, do you think this motion could have teeth? Do you think this is a formality? I'm curious your legal opinion on why this attorney would say he thinks there's still something outstanding that hasn't been turned over by the state.
So,
no, Ann Janeski, he testified at Sarah Boone's trial. He was one of the experts that was hired by James Owens. He was, of the experts, I think the one that did the best job in being an expert rather than being a defense witness or a prosecution witness, because he did answer the questions that James asked that related to battered spouse and helped him create the foundation for presenting that argument anyway. But when, I can't remember if it was Mr. J or Mr. Cacciatore, but when he was crossed, they asked a bunch of the same questions, like, could George have been a battered spouse? If this applied, could this person be considered a batterer? And he answered those questions just as honestly, and I think made Sarah look bad. And I think if you're in the jury and you've got, a Dr. Harper that's obviously a defense witness, and then you've got Michael Brannon that gives a relatively even-handed view of it, you're going to be a lot more swayed by a guy like him. So I think that he was actually an important witness for truth in the trial rather than an important witness for either the defense or the prosecution.
Of course, as in any prosecution, you have the duty to turn over any evidence that you're going to.
Oh, just at the beginning, they said something about that he was testified at the Marcia Clark trial. And I think there was speculation at the time. I'm not familiar with the Marcia Clark case, but I guess that was a case where she was, vindicated or, found not guilty, and he was an expert that testified on her behalf. So one of those things that gives Sarah false hope, like, I have the expert that gets people off. And it's like, no, he's just an expert. If you're not guilty, you're more likely to be let off.
To be relying on in trial, or just generally, and my always rule of thumb was always, when in doubt, send it out, right? So that way there's never an issue later on down the line. You didn't turn this over. This could have been exculpatory. You mentioned this in trial. I didn't have access to it before, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes in homicide cases, when you have a lot of different witnesses, you have many different people that authored reports. You may not, there could be a situation maybe where one or two reports didn't get turned over. It happens. It's, often accidental, not anything untoward, but it happens. So it's possible that the defense attorney, in the abundance of caution, is just renewing his request for any and all discovery that might be pending, just prompting the prosecutor to go through the file again and just ensure there wasn't anything turned over. Now, of course, it could be a stall tactic on the side of the defendant, because again, yes, to your point, Julia, she knows what discovery she created, but also is a tactic to know, is there anything else out there that can be used against me? And how do I deal with that?
And the funny thing is, she probably doesn't know all the discovery that was against her. Like, there's probably significant portions of those videos where she had George as a hostage that she was, oh, fuck yeah, there's that one too. But it wasn't until they were played in court that she's like, oh, I remember the day in the park.
How do I handle that in advance of the trial?
Excellent insight from you as always.
So yeah, that's some really good balance right there between the attorney and the doctor. Yeah, the battered spouse defense is very powerful. Less so when you have the type of evidence that we saw in previous videos, where George is trying to get out. He's saying he can't get out, saying he can't breathe. And Sarah's laughing, and she just, there's nothing there. No concern. No concern for him in the slightest. And that creates a very difficult hurdle to overcome when it comes to trial, because now opinions about Sarah Boone have already been formed. Regardless of what anybody knows about the trial, she's on her 9th and 10th attorneys. That right there makes people think that she's very difficult to deal with. Her affect in court is very difficult to overcome. Her demeanor in interview and in the original body camera is very difficult to overcome. She just has this, what was the word we came up with for her? Insufferable. That seemed to be like the perfect way to describe her. And here's the thing you have to be careful about. As far as a defense attorney, the prosecution already has dumped that phone, and they have everything that's on that phone.
Exactly.
So they want to be very careful about what they introduce. As far as that battered spouse defense, especially in the light of how George died. And there's a history of domestic violence back and forth on both sides. George to Sarah, Sarah to George. It's been an ongoing cycle between the two of them, as it is in most domestic violence relationships. So they want to be very careful because conceivably the defense could get something from Sarah's phone entered into evidence that may help her case, but the prosecution may sit there and say, okay, well, if you want to show that video, oh, look, this comes straight from her phone. This is what we're going to show.
And that's exactly what happened in the case. The initial state case was lightning fast. Like, here's the video. Here, let me read what she said. This is what she did. This is what she went upstairs. This is what happened. These are the results. We rest our case. And then Owens went on the cock and bull story with the battered spouse, and the overt act was the fingers coming out of the suitcase. And, that went as far as it went. And then the state said, okay, rebuttal case. And the rebuttal case, that was the real case. Like, I remember in the chats, a lot of people being really worried that all the body cam stuff, all the stuff we were familiar with, hadn't been introduced by the state when they rested. And it was because they had more than enough. The video, they're trying to prove second-degree murder. The video proves second-degree murder. Sarah wants to add, all this bullshit side defense as a mitigating factor or exculpatory. She opened herself up to looking, way worse than she already did, which is an incredible feat.
So like I've told y'all before, I'm 5 weeks into my first year of law school, so I'm not.
And Addy makes a great point in the chat that he's wrong about it being back and forth. And he doesn't say that now, but just got to give him the benefit of the doubt and that he hasn't seen all the evidence at this point. So all he knows is the police reports that say, George got arrested, she got arrested. But I think in one of the earlier videos says, basically that he's not an expert on the case. He's just reviewing it as it's the information's presented to him through these videos. So it will be something interesting to follow up with him when I'm talking to him live on his stream for sure.
I'm certainly not qualified to make an opinion about that, but it just seems like something that it seems like a card I'd want to be very careful about playing. All right. I feel like it's something that could just kind of jump up and bite me if I wasn't ready for it. But so she's got an investigator now. She's got an attorney, and that's good. And that's good. We kind of have an understanding of how all these things kind of tie together, where we're trying to figure out or get a better sense of kind of what the procedure going forward is going to look like. Is there going to be a continuance? Yeah, there almost has to be, because that would almost certainly be an appealable issue. And, no trial court is going to want their decision overturned, especially in a case that's garnered this much attention. So I really kind of see things. I think the judge kind of has a Solomon-like decision to make. He's got to balance getting this trial moving Daddy. With what's going to be fair. And I think the prosecutor, Melba, kind of nailed it. She, 3 weeks, maybe a month, but we're not looking at 3 months down the road. She doesn't think the can's going to get kicked nearly that far. And I would tend to agree that would not be in the best interest of justice or or beneficial to either side. Now, somebody did ask me when they found out that I've been covering the Sarah Boone case. They said, "Well, what about her right to due process and her right to a speedy trial?"
She kind of blew that.
due process is being upheld, as we can clearly see. I feel like the judge has been
Exactly. More than deferential.
considerably more patient, understanding, and
Above and
tolerant
beyond.
than I think a lot of judges would. Now, as far as her right to a speedy trial, there's really only one person to blame for that. That's usually aimed towards a prosecutorial or law enforcement, holding things up, delaying discovery, delaying motions, things like that. Those usually come from the law enforcement and prosecutor sides. The delays we've seen in Sarah Boone's case, Sarah Boone is the lowest common denominator in that. All right, so that's not really an issue. And sometimes, sometimes there are just things you don't necessarily tend to think about. And that's kind of the cool thing about this channel is, there's hundreds of other YouTubers out there following the same case, and there's a lot of attorneys doing it, and they probably have more material insight into what I did, into what how the Sarah Boone trial looks to them. And I'm just kind of going off of the perspective.
Might do a toga stream. I'm always up for a new outfit for a stream.
Of what would a law enforcement officer have to do to get this thing, to make sure they weren't the reason things were being held up. And like I've said in past videos,
if I wanted to hold the stream hostage, I wouldn't do drumming. I would probably sing something outside my range, like Whitney Houston or Aretha Franklin.
I've just been really impressed with the sheriff's department who had handled this case. I know some people disagree, and I know some channels disagree, but hey, that's the wonderful thing about America is everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
It's a wonderful thing about Canada too. This is one of the things I like about his channel, though, is that he wasn't trying to be what everyone else was doing. He was doing his own thing, and whether 10 people watched his video or 1,000 people watched it, he's the same guy. And it gave me almost the freedom to just come online and be who I was. And whether I had 15 people watching that really liked what I was doing, that would be cool. I remember being so excited that I got 17 subscribers after a week of doing videos, and it was, wow, I didn't expect 17 people to be watching, subscribing, watching. So if you enjoy the moment, then yeah, it's a lot better way to live life, I think, is just enjoy what you're doing. And whether it's for tens or hundreds, thousands, it's more important that people are interested in what you're doing and you're interested in doing it.
So let's go a little further, because I think we got a little bit more from the doctor, and I like his testimony.
Congratulations, USA and hockey.
He's obviously very knowledgeable about what he's about his point of view and how he sees things. And he's not really committed to one thing or another. He's just very matter of fact about, under these circumstances. And so let's hear a little bit more from the doctor and see kind of what we got.
But thank you. Dr. Brandon, let me go back to you, please, on the issue of battered spouse syndrome. Sarah Boone, we know, is a very strong-willed, shall we say,
we still got
woman.
That was
seems
diplomatic.
To know what she wants.
She's strong-willed. We still got the James Owens interview to come up too. When is that? Okay, that's not too far off. About 10 minutes, I think. Oh, let's see. Yeah, I think when they're scrolling B-roll is when Owens is talking. Okay. we got that to look forward to.
Cody getting along with the 8 prior attorneys, maybe 9 will be lucky number 9, who knows. But tell me, if she is intent on going forward with this defense or at least exploring it, what does that look like from your perspective in consulting? Would you kind of take us behind the scenes? How would that go?
Sure. So you'd want to know right away whether there's any control tactics that were being done by the victim in this case. Was there a pattern of abuse? Was it ongoing? And was the individual, the victim in this case, so controlling that she wasn't allowed to contact, be in touch with other individuals, be in touch with family members to try to get help? And did she make other attempts to try to get away from the abuse? And I'd also note that the method of death here that was utilized by Ms. Boone on the victim, it would be unusual for a battered spouse case. Usually the actions are impulsive, they're quick, a quick gunshot or a quick stab wound. But this type of killing is really unusual and almost unheard of for battered spouse cases. So they'd have to overcome that as well, because it appears that there's some thought, some intent, but also some lingering time for her to think about what she's done. And oftentimes those are not synonymous with battered spouse defenses.
I appreciate it, Dr. Brannon.
There's a lot of thought and a lot of intent that went into that. And I've said this before, intent can form in an instant. Intent does not have to be this long, drawn-out, premeditated, I'm going to get somebody out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to make sure that 8:30 p.m., they're standing under the church where I push a gargoyle off the top of the church, and it hits them. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to be anything that creative. Intent can be formed in the moment. What kind of gets me here, though, is like the doctor said, and I couldn't have put it better, is in battered spouse cases, the violence is usually very sporadic, instantaneous, and usually the batterer doesn't see it coming. It's usually something, you usually find out about batterers that are killed in their sleep or otherwise engaged in other activities, fixing the sink, working on a car, something like that. And this one, it's very unusual because this is usually something you see in body dumps, and this is usually something you see, unfortunately, in extreme child abuse, child neglect situations. So it's very sad, but I certainly appreciate the doctor's expertise in this area. He's not an apologist, that's for sure. But he's very matter of fact about what his beliefs and his findings are. And I think for me, that's what helps make him so credible for me. And credibility in an expert witness.
Because Harper said everything they wanted and it was useless. Like, what's the point of having a witness that's just going to, I don't know. I can't imagine any jury listening to what she had to say and seeing the same evidence. It doesn't make sense. It's a Chewbacca defense.
Every witness you put on the stand should be credible, or you should be able to explain their past and why you might not be able to find them credible and get ahead of that. Because juries don't like to be surprised. I learned that in the academy. Juries don't like to be surprised. So if there's something a jury needs to know, prosecutor needs to tell them, hey, there are some issues you're going to find out you're not going to like about this person's history, this person's past, what have you. And so, but I think he does a great job, and I think he'd be a very, very difficult expert witness to find fault in. Okay, so let's go a little further. Let's see what else we got on this.
Dr. Brannon, tell us, what are you looking for as this progresses? What are you listening for, watching for with Sarah Boone's trial?
So does the evidence show a pattern of abuse, and does the evidence show that she's tried other methods to try to escape from that abuse? And remember, these are difficult defenses. And the reason why they're difficult is you're asking jurors to not believe what they see, but to really believe what they can't see, which is what a person's thinking.
Let me just take a quick pause here. Billie Jean says, is the video frozen? I only hear audio. Is this the case for anyone in chat? We'll just take a... Okay, she's refreshing. Just take a second to stand up, stretch, you know. Well, I'll wait for Billie Jean to get back here. Or you know what would be even funnier is when she comes back, I'll just sit here for a second, yeah. No, we're back, Billy. We're just fucking with you.
Thinking and feeling. And the attorneys in this case, with their evidence, have to be able to show what she was thinking and what she told other people, and not just what she did, but what she didn't do. All those things are very, very important in establishing a battered spouse syndrome case. And this particular case, if she hasn't shown those elements, it'll be difficult to get that forward with a jury.
Appreciate.
Yeah, those are all really good points. And remember, if we're looking for justice for the victim, for George in this case, we need to make sure that due process is followed, because the last thing we want is an appeal coming through on Sarah's behalf if she's found guilty, and then creating a situation where nobody's ever held accountable. And there's case after case after case after case where that's happened, where people have been so quick to point a finger, and then a case falls apart, and everybody's sitting there going, wait, what happened? Well, how do we fix it? And everybody's like, I don't know.
And that's like what happened in the Karen Reed case. Like, you know, now more evidence is coming out that maybe, well, regardless of what the results, the fact that the evidence was botched at the beginning clouded any chances of getting to the real answers from the start. So that's the importance of a strong evidence chain, and it's one of the things we talked about in the earlier videos, as how much he called out Kayla Rodriguez for controlling the scene. You know, hey, we need names of everyone who's gone in there. This is going to be a thing. She was really good at just, you know, keeping her head in a situation that she knew was going to be a thing that was going to get investigated. Sure enough, it went to trial. Like, could you imagine if she made some basic mistakes there and they had to throw out, say, the car interview? Or so, you know, the things that go right tend to get unnoticed. It's the things that go wrong that everyone picks at. So that's one of the things I like about his coverage, is how he calls out things that go right.
That's not a good place to be. So due process, we want to see that. We want to see that due process. Yeah, those are good points. When he talks about, so the legal definition of that is the subjective standard, and it often goes to what people are thinking. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And what you have to understand,
sympathy. That was my mirror neurons.
Is battered spouse victimology is very specific to one group of people. And so the doctor is absolutely 100% right. You have to get the jury to understand why certain actions weren't taken, why certain actions were taken. One of the common things is, well, why didn't the individual just leave? Why didn't the individual do this? If things were that bad, why this, why that? So, the doctor
reset or a continuance, and if so, for how long?
The jury to understand what they
That was his own production, but
can't see, and that was just a brilliant way of putting that.
Let's get to the James Owens.
Yeah, very, very impressed. I like Court TV.
I like Court TV.
They're commentators from the legal side, from the forensic side, and the law enforcement side. They all do such a good job. I'm always really impressed, and I'm always a little. I always wish there was like a bio that I could find on their guest, just so I could do a little more, research into them. But let's take a look one more time at Sarah's little. It reads like the worst human resources recruiting ad ever conceived.
Oh, good. He's going to go back to it.
Because it's just got every generic human resources buzzword in it. But let's take a look at that one more time.
And then Sarah Boone filed this want ad looking for a lawyer. Would anyone answer that ad? Would anyone step forward to save Sarah from representing herself?
I disagree with that. Sarah didn't need to be saved from representing herself. Sarah needs to be saved from herself. She has done herself zero favors since this whole thing started. It looks like the plea agreement is off the table, and I think we talked about that.
How crazy that she still got a plea. Like one more chance after all the chances. But
that in the last video we did about her. So it's just really difficult to see where any of this is going to go. All right. So let's kick this off.
Tonight, we speak live with the man who answered the call, the man who will, believe it or not, represent Sarah Boone.
Here we go. The dramatic music.
Battle. There is no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. But you know what?
Sorry, I'm trying to balance between both audios.
There's a lot of speculation going around about why he did it and everything. But Court TV actually got him on the phone. And his reasoning is really interesting. So I'm just going to let this play, and I want y'all to kind of hear, and I'm gonna kind of walk.
This is what we've been waiting for.
Kind of where this takes my mind.
You guys made it this far.
And there's something.
Shout out to Danny Chavon.
Not that the lawyer says, but what he doesn't say, that kind of gives me an aha moment. And I want you to start thinking about it. Listen to what he says, and then listen to what he doesn't say, and see if we're on the same page.
Inmate seeks attorney. Looking for a prosperous challenge? Ready for your close-up on national television? Are you zealous with the side of keen? Show the world who you are with your original creativity, extraordinary expertise, confident ingenuity. Qualifications must include being trustworthy, honest, passion-driven, open-minded, exceptional problem-solving skills, client inclusion at all times, team orientation, collaboration, extreme efficiency in listening, communicating, understanding, dedication to success, possessing a winning mindset, capability of excellence in representation, committed, maintaining faith in the client and case with the ability to think differently, overcome all circumstances. Epic opportunity awaits. Sarah Boone, number 20005623.
Crazy to think that this ad appealed to aspiring documentarians in New York just as much as it appealed to, lawyers looking to take on that big case. Because I'm sure this is what drew in, this was the call for help. And they're like, we're zealous. We have a side of keen.
Orange County Corrections Department. Invest in the oppressed. Believe.
So who would believe in Sarah Boone? Well, someone did step forward to take this case. Yes, an attorney in Florida. Joining me by phone.
Here we go.
Sarah Boone's
quick in the chat. Have you seen this or heard this before?
James Owens. James, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thumbs up if you have. Thumbs down if you haven't.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, the first question I know everyone's asking you. Why? Why did you take this case, James?
Well, I watch a lot of YouTube.
Y'all wonder if he watches the Cowboy Criminologist? I don't know. Wonder if it would have changed his mind if he had seen my channel and watched my take on her. If he'd been like, you know what? I'm still going to take the case. I don't know.
He could have done well to have watched it.
And I watch a lot of court TV, and I've been following this case just like all the other true crime people do, and kept watching it being delayed and the lawyers being switched, and then saw that the judge got fed up and ruled that she had forfeited her right to a court-appointed counsel. And so that's a rare event. As lawyers, we know that, everybody has a right to a lawyer, a court-appointed lawyer, if you can't afford one. So,
but she got 8.
On a serious charge, a felony. In this case, it was a murder. For the judge to revoke that right was a serious decision on his part. I don't disagree. I respect the court's decision, but that left her facing a murder charge without a lawyer, which is unheard of, I think.
The perp walk.
And so, I watched for a while, and then I saw the ad on your show.
So it's not unheard of. There's lots of people like, I'm sure Ted Bundy represented himself at one point. But she's the first one that didn't want to be a lawyer, or at least the first that I can think of. There's definitely been a lot of narcissistic people who thought they were better prepared to be their own lawyers.
And I think that you had said something implying, hey, who's gonna take the case? What lawyer in Florida is gonna pick up the torch, so to speak? And I think you had somebody on, maybe it was a lawyer from the Northeast, and I think I remember that lawyer saying, man, if I was a license in Florida, I'd take the case, under that scenario, because she really needs a lawyer. Everybody needs a lawyer. And so the ad came out, and I sat there and waited for 3 or 4 weeks. I can't remember now how long I waited, but I was thinking that a lawyer out of Orlando would pick up the case.
No, exactly, Compass Realty, and by your name, you're probably a Robert Tellez fan too, who had lawyering experience. So there's plenty. I was forced to be pro se by being a complete bitch to 8 lawyers, but in any case, forced. I don't want to be pro se. I have to. Lucky for me, I'm so smart, but
somebody would think, hey, this is not right. There's no way she's going to get a fair trial representing herself. It's unfair, but there's a gap in the system. The judge made a decision based on her conduct that she had forfeited a right to a lawyer. I believe that's where the private sector has got to step in. Somebody in the private sector in that situation, and it's rare, should step in. So
and I think there's truth to that. I think, it's the right thing to do if the public defenders aren't doing it. And, I don't think James Owens was the right guy to do it, but I think a lot of lawyers that were the right people for the job were put off by the way she treated, apparently Patricia Cashman was known for working with difficult clients. So I would imagine a quick phone call to her, hey, what was it like? Oh, fuck it, not a 10-foot pole, not a 40-foot pole. I wouldn't take the largest damn pole they have in this side of the panhandle. Don't get near her. And I guess you had to go all the way up to the panhandle to find someone.
I waited. Nobody responded in the local area. So
Mielgarita points out, did I know about Lana and the ad? So I know that in their communication back and forth, Lana, I remember there was a part where Sarah said, oh, did you see, read the end, it's going to be good. And they were waiting for it to be online and stuff like that. But I know Lana had some involvement anyway. And that she was the one who followed up to help get James Owens hired and that sort of thing. Yeah, the whole Lana angle too. There ever is a Sarah movie, there definitely has to be a side story that goes down the Lana rabbit hole.
I just happened to have a case down in Hillsborough County that I was going to down in Tampa. And so I knew I was scheduled for court down there. So about a week before that, I sent her a letter, and she had a third party contact me to, I guess, check me out to see if I was legitimate. And
well, I think everyone's been checking you out in the last couple days, and everybody knows you are absolutely legitimate.
Just before he comments, Vel73 says that she didn't know that letter was for Judge K. Yeah, at that point, Sarah was well aware that her letters were getting published and shared on YouTube. So she knew by including that advertisement with her letter to Judge Kranek, that's how she could kind of get an advertisement for free. And it did work. Like that, of all the schemes and all the ploys and all the shenanigans of Sarah Boone, I guess, broken clock can be right twice a day. She was right once. That was probably still her finest hour.
So it's hard to argue with. It's hard to argue with his reason for wanting to get involved.
Legitimate reasons.
I can kind of see. Yeah, let's wait and see if somebody else picks up the slack and takes it on. But I mean, in Orange County, she probably just has a horrible reputation, and that makes it really difficult to want to force anybody into representing her. I bet there were law firms in Orlando that were getting their pro bono hours knocked out really quick. It's like, oh, sorry, we've met our quota for the year on pro bono, Judge. If you just catch us next year, But yeah, there's some interesting things there, and kind of interesting how he got into that. And the whole thing about the private sector needing to step up. I mean, sometimes.
This is interesting. So Mialgarita points out that my point is that it doesn't seem like she was serious about the ad. She meant it as an insult to Kranek. So basically, I'm forced to be pro se. So, what a circus this whole situation is. And it is such a circus, that I've got to attach this to my ad. It would be funny that because I think it still is her finest hour. Like, that was the best result out of all of her different things. But it's even funnier that it's accidental. Like, she didn't even try to make that happen with all the things she does try to invoke in the universe that come to such terrible fruition. That would actually be the one that comes to fruition is amazing.
Sometimes you gotta put aside your bottom line to help other people out. But that raises a very interesting question, and I think we're going to get to that here in this next clip. So let's check this out.
James, I mean, you have quite a history.
I've been doing it a long time. Doing it a long time. So anyway, she reached out to me, and then a couple of days later, Sarah called me from the jail in Orange County in Orlando, and we talked for a little bit. And I explained to her that I was coming down that Wednesday, but I'd come down early and spend Tuesday talking to her, and she agreed. So I drove down Monday after work. Tuesday morning,
can you describe that meeting without, I know attorney-client.
This is funny, too, because he says, I know about attorney-client privilege. Owens tells a lot more than I'd expect.
Communications is off limits, but how would you describe that meeting to someone? Like, was it different than meeting other clients for the first time?
Ask that question.
The first meeting?
Yeah.
No, it was,
It was Sarah's most professional fuck you, that letter. 58 pages of it. Or I guess the circus flyer was the professional fuck you on top of a unprofessional 58-page fuck you. Like the professional cherry on the unprofessional sundae.
It was a 4-hour meeting. I usually don't meet with clients in the jail for that long, so I gave her a chance to talk and just listened. For a long time, she had a lot to say. Obviously, she's been in jail for 4 years.
She always does.
And, we had a good meeting. Just, again, I think she has trust issues because she felt like she did have some good lawyers that were on her case and just withdrew because they would get in some arguments about issues, I guess. And so she said they wouldn't even tell her anything at the jail, but the next thing you know, she would...
They don't even tell me anything. Oh, James, thank you for coming to save me.
You know, be sent to court, and the lawyer had filed a motion to withdraw. So she didn't, trust the lawyers because she didn't know who to trust. She'd been with so many. So a lot of it was just trying to build trust with her. After she talked a little bit, I told her a little bit about myself. So really feeling each other out and trying to build some kind of...
Feeling each other out. Now, this is the one that went on the inmate report, has got into a yelling match with the lawyer to where the somebody from the prison had to come over and tell them both to settle down.
Rapport was the first meeting, which was about 4 hours. But I think early on in the case, I was able to persuade her that I knew what I was talking about because I was prepared. When I got there, I was prepared, and I played... Part of that 4 hours, I played the prosecutor.
Good to see you, Barry Adams.
I pulled out the jury instructions, and I made an argument as a prosecutor would make to a jury. And I had her sit there and listen to it. And I think that was effective. I don't think she had anybody ever do that to her and explain it to her that way of how...
So that's pretty crazy that he's sharing that, but still, can you imagine how that went? Like... He basically is like, look, Sarah, what's going to happen is they're going to throw you up there and he's going to say, look at this fucking video and look at the fucking fuck yous and look how fucking drunk you were and look at this and look at that and look at the fucking autopsy. And you want to tell me that you don't need a lawyer and I'm full of shit? You're full of shit. And, hey, you too, settle down.
How it would play out in court. And that got her attention.
Got her attention.
Initially I was going down there. Now, let me tell you, my initial thought going down there was this. She didn't have a lawyer, and once that happens, once they're pro se, then you know as well as I do that all these cases are up for negotiation. Plea agreements.
Look how tall the arresting or the transport officer is. I always make this point, but we know Sarah's only about 5 feet tall. The escort officer here, it seems very short for law enforcement. There's Scott in the background towering over them like he's a basketball player. He is a big guy. But...
Pretty much on the table at any time, and judges recommend, the courts recommend, you try to work cases out. The vast majority of cases get worked out with pleas. So, I talked to her about that, and that was my intent. I'd called the prosecutor and told him I was coming down there to speak with her ahead of time, and he wanted me to file some kind of a notice of appearance, and I didn't want to do that. I wasn't ready to take on the case. So I got her to sign a document essentially saying, hey, I don't want to negotiate directly with you, state attorney. I would like for James Owens to work, just to talk to you. And so she signed that, and I did, for a couple of days, talk to the prosecutor. I was trying to resolve it.
Right. And
I felt...
Plea bargain. He was trying to get, hey, did you offer anything to the previous lawyer? Can we get that back on the table?
I felt like the judge is fixing to have a 3-week trial with a pro se defendant. Prosecutor's fixing to have a trial with a 3-week trial with a pro se defendant. It was not going to be fair. And I felt like they might be in a posture to try to negotiate something that would be doable. So that was my first intent, was not to handle the case, not to try the case. If we got something worked out, then I would file a notice of appearance, and we'd set it for a court date to resolve it.
That didn't happen,
my first.
That didn't happen.
No, it didn't. And I left that 4-hour meeting. I went to Tampa the next day, had court, and then turns out the investigator that had been assigned to the pro se litigant, Sarah Boone, he was meeting with her that evening at 7. So I asked if I could just join. So I came back over and spent about an hour and a half with her and Billy Lane, the investigator. And we talked some more, and I was convinced that there was going to be no plea bargaining. So I told her I was not representing her and I was leaving, and I emailed the prosecutor or called the prosecutor and said, look, we've reached an impasse. There's no agreement, and I'm not going to be representing her. Not.
Look at how bold she is to get up and like point at the screen. Like, she gets told to sit down a few times in this interview, but she stood up a lot longer than I expected right here.
I went home.
That's very interesting. And this kind of goes back to what we've talked about in the past with Sarah, as far as she has this idea in her mind about how her defense is supposed to go. But there's a reality there that I think maybe the way James Owens has kind of laid it out for her, maybe light started to dawn on a marble head, something to that effect. But it's interesting that Sarah, as hard up for an attorney as she is, still wants to be in control, still wants to be in charge. And that just, I mean, you're looking at a substantial prison sentence. Why? Sarah just has a need to be in control. Common with the type of personality disorder we talked about, her cluster B personalities. She has to be in control. So let's see what happens when she finally starts seeming to, at least, well, we thought she's seen the light a few times, but apparently not. So let's see how this whole thing resolves.
And I want to say a couple of days later, Sarah.
About 15 minutes left in his video, so if we're on the stream and you're wondering how much longer, if you're thinking about sticking it out, probably 25 minutes of the stream left.
Called me and we talked some more, and I told her Vinny,
So, but at this point, she's now reaching out to you because she wants James Owens to represent her.
Well, we did connect. And I think she was overwhelmed being her own lawyer. She was stressed out. Yeah. She had all this discovery that she was trying to go over. She didn't know what she was doing. She didn't know the rules of procedure, rules of evidence. And she had told the judge, I think they'd had a couple of hearings on some issues, and she said, "Judge, this is not fair. I don't know what I'm doing." And the judge kept saying, "Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but this is your position." So I think she was just thankful that I came down to see her. We had, some good meetings. So I think she really needed some help. So I think that was partly to do with it, but there were still some issues because I think she was let down because I said I wasn't going to represent her.
Right.
So we got off the phone. I still said I wasn't committed to it, but I was thinking about it. But as you know, second-degree murder trial, and the judge had set a firm date for October the 7th, which is really difficult to do. I mean, you pretty much have to shut down your practice for 30 days or 6 weeks.
Absolutely.
And just to try to catch up and just be, which is essentially what I'm having to do. Now,
what if an act of God came to give you an extra week? Would that help, James?
Well, you've seen the body cam, all the interrogation videos, the 911 call, and then of course the cell video. It starts there, right? But in terms of getting prepared in 30 days for this trial, that's 4 years old, and
Barry
a lot
Adams.
of things have happened. Can you do it? And will you be ready?
Well, I'm gonna do my best with the time I've got left.
I'm gonna do
That's
my
all
best.
I can do. I'm gonna get some help. I've got to get some staff helping me. I've got a couple of lawyers that are buddies of mine that have offered their help. So,
couldn't
I
do
should
it
send
without
that
the girls.
lawyer from the Northeast down to help you. Joseph Krowski is the guy.
Yeah.
We'll let him know that he's the reason that you jumped in the case. He may fly down there to help you. He's up in Boston. It's cold. He may come down and help you.
And I've got
the pro se
that'd be
ding.
great. And I've got two lawyers that, like I say, I think are going to help me. Are pretty much committed to it. They're friends of mine, and I trust them, and they want to help me. And they realize I thought the case was going to be continued. I respect the judge's decision, but I really
It was probably the closest decision that Kranick made. There was a lot of decisions that were like, 100%, this is how I'm ruling. He was probably on the fence about giving, because, there is something to be said for new lawyer comes on the case, give him time to get the material. But, I mean, like I said, something to be said for it. It was more than a scintilla. It was better than making the argument that the overt act existed, which was highly specious. Asking for a couple of weeks was reasonable, but it's not unreasonable to say no either, because she'd had 4.5 years.
We thought.
Let me ask you this.
He
Have
knew
you
coming
spoken
in.
to any of the other 8?
Yes. I spoke to Miss Cashman, who was the last lawyer that had it. I've tried to speak to Mr. Padilla out of Miami. He's the one that had the case initially. He had it for about 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. He did most of the discovery, took most of the depositions. I think they were pretty much ready for trial or getting close, and
I think he asked for 3 months thinking the judge would cut him down to a month. Because if he asked for a month, then the judge would like, whatever you can do in a month, you can do in the 2 weeks that you've got. So I think that was strategic. Ask for 3 months, be prepared for less, and to get smacked down to. The dates are what the dates are, Mr. Owens. So all he could do was pray for an act of God, and it came. Hurricane Milton gave him an extra week.
he withdrew. But I've tried to call him a couple of times. I know he's been in a double homicide case they just got out of, but I never was able to speak with him.
And you're doing this pro bono? I mean, I don't think she has much.
No.
What are you getting?
Well, Sarah's got to pay me back one day.
Okay. Okay.
Sarah's going to pay me back one day.
Nope.
So, remember, I just got done saying, or a little while ago, I said, it's not what the lawyer said, it's what he didn't say. So you have a client who's been locked up in jail for the last 4 years. Okay. She obviously has...
Can we take a minute here to show, like, in photography, there's something called the 2/3 rule, where you're supposed to have your subject take up, 2/3 of whatever. So in my framing here, I'm taking up, 2/3 of the view. There's a third of it that's static. He's following like the 1/8 rule, just down here in the bottom corner. But okay, I only pick on his production a little bit.
Very little money if she has any at all. How is she going to pay for the legal counsel that she's getting?
Brian,
because I would be, I would pretty much bet that the type of service that Miss.
Great point Barry Adams makes. If he got the 3 months he asked for, that would have just given him the time to I can't do it, Your Honor, I gotta go. By forcing him, you knew what you were coming into, you knew what the dates were. We didn't force you to do this. You're not a public defender. You came of your own free will. Be her lawyer, be her support counsel, be her standby counsel, whatever the fuck you're gonna do, but do it. You're not getting a continuance.
Mr. Owens provides comes at a premium. I mean, let's face it, you get what you pay for, right? So I'm curious what that meant. And the only thing that really comes to mind,
he's in the bottom third of the right third.
And I think I touched on this in the video where she first threw out her little HR sign. I was trying to kind of walk you through.
I'm going to take a quick second here to show what I mean to Meowgarita, how I would reframe him So if this was my production, I would make him kind of like that. So then he's taking up about 2/3 of the screen. He's on, he's not perfectly centered, but on the side. So if he wants to put something in the window, he could. But yeah, that's what I'd picture. It said, let's see how quickly I can get it back here. Okay, that's kind of good. That's good. And we're live.
Who I thought might take on this case. So I thought maybe a young, eager go-getter.
A young,
but
eager
then maybe
go-getter.
Not. Maybe they wouldn't have the experience. Somebody looking to name...
Wouldn't it have been funny if Peter and Julian flew in to defend her? As well, we were going to shoot a movie, but we're the best she's got. So I'm Peter. This is my partner, Julian. We're going to defend her, Your Honor, if you give us the permission. That would have been great.
Make a name for themselves. Maybe after the eighth attorney, probably not. But then you have to wonder if she can't pay, how is she going to do this? Well, most true crime junkies know that there are things called the Son of Sam laws. The Son of Sam laws prohibit criminals from profiting off of their notoriety. Every state in the union has
jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time.
But
all right, pretend judge. See you soon.
What a notorious individual
Glad you stuck around, Compass Realty.
Is they can sell their life rights away.
Ooh, that's high praise.
And what that means is basically they...
I don't know if I'm a main event. I feel like the late show where, God, did Craig Kilborn do? Craig Ferguson had the skeleton Jeff as his sidekick. And he could do whatever the fuck he wanted, because if you're still watching TV at 2 a.m., good for him for keeping you on board. If I can be that for the eastern half of North America and, the western half, we're barely at 2 a.m. We're still ready to party. Yeah, that would be a great way to fit into the overall mix of YouTube creators. Thank you.
Sell their life story to somebody else or sign over the rights to it. And then that individual can try and negotiate a book deal, a movie deal, TV miniseries, whatever it happens to be, and try to recoup some of that money. Or
Night Bell 73.
A percentage of that money, with a very small percentage of that going back to the individual.
Love Bruce Rivers and the self-snitching videos.
As far as like commissary, and it couldn't be much. He couldn't ink, a $10 million book and television deal, and then reclaim whatever his legal fees are, and then put the rest in her account if she's found guilty. Now,
so was some of the discussion, hey, James, I've got these people who are making a film about me, and I can't make money off of it. So the money I make or should make from that film would just get paid directly to you, and these are the guys who are doing it? Because he had some compensation worked out. He said that, no, not doing it for free. Sarah going to pay me.
Now, if she's acquitted, of course, she wouldn't be able to be retried again. Double jeopardy would kick in.
Rush, Tragically Hip, tied with Justin Bieber. You know what song is really good? I'm not a Justin Bieber fan, but there's one song that's it's just delightfully, it's a professional fuck you. God. There's a line in it, my mama don't like you and she likes everyone. My mama don't like you and she likes everyone. Fuck. I'll look it up. We won't play any of it, but I'll let you guys know what it is.
She could, once again, still sell her the rights to her story And in that case, she could pay him off plus a percentage for negotiating, however that's set up. And I really think that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like I said, that's a lot of speculation, but I don't see anything else that makes a lot of sense. So I think we got like a minute and a half left with him. Let's see what he's.
That was the agreement I had. I wanted her to understand that she needs to be self-reliant and she needs to be responsible for fees. I've got a bunch of clients that are paying me, and some of them only pay $50 a month. And but it's important to me. It's important to them, that we have an arrangement to make payments, and that's what I told her.
Do you think?
I feel.
Do you think she needs to tell her story in the courtroom?
No. This is great though, because Owens kind of gives his opinion here of their. Well, we'll let Owens talk, but strategic, right? Would you want her talking? And you can see he's not 100% on board.
Well,
please don't let her tell her story in court. Please don't let her.
Sarah's a unique individual. I don't know. In a criminal case, is the time to tell her whole story. I think if it's necessary, she'll take the stand. We're just going to see how the case plays out. We'll make that decision when the time comes. Of course, she's got a lot to say. She's filed a lot of pleadings, a lot of letters. Some ill-advised.
We've seen them. Trust me, we see. Yeah. So James, this is what I want to do. I want to stay in contact with you, and we are legitimately going to reach out to Joseph Krowski to see if he is willing to get down there if he needs an extra hand. But also wanted to let you know that I wanted to let you go now because I know you've got some discovery. You got a couple more hours tonight. You can jump in there and as you get ready for this. But
you got a couple more hours to prepare.
We can reach out to you as we get closer and closer to the trial and grab a couple minutes of your time.
Thanks, Vinny.
All
Appreciate
right.
You.
James Owens, folks, this is how the system works. It doesn't work if lawyers just look away and don't jump in like this.
So, yeah, somebody had to. Whether James Owens was the right one, questionable. And truth be told, a lot did step in. I think Patricia Cashman was her last best hope for effective legal representation. So, you could say there's something to be said for blowing through the first 5 to get to a really good one, but she didn't know a gift horse when she saw one. Not to look it in the mouth, she wanted the whole mouth. But
everyone, whether you believe they're guilty or not guilty, it doesn't matter. Without defense attorneys stepping in like James Owens is in this case, the whole system crumbles.
Yeah, so we've got
5 minutes left in his
that's kind of
now.
interesting, and I really like how the anchor kind of finished that off. I think that's a very important thing to say. Yeah, regardless of whether you think they're guilty or innocent, without due process, it really doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I apologize for laughing during that video, but
don't apologize. We love you for it.
I think the very idea of Sarah Boone getting on a stand in open court and telling her story, it just is a.
So he hasn't seen that either, or at least reacted to it professionally. So that would also be great with his new legal experience to go through the trial. I think both expert witnesses as well as Sarah Boone's testimony would be fantastic with the two of us live.
I would imagine that's one of those things that he's trying to negotiate and trying to explain to her why it's not in her best interest. So, y'all, that's the latest on Sarah Boone. Like I said, videos are going to be a little sporadic. I'm still trying to work out my time management and everything. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to start hitting the books here really quick. But,
and spoiler, this ends up being one of his last videos. I think this is maybe his 5th to last video.
Sunday, September 22nd at 6:30, I'm going to be going live with Katie Zed. And we're going to be talking about the Karen Reed trial. She's going to give us a little background on it. And I'm going to go over a few things. I'm going to go over a few things about the trial that have kind of struck me as far as police procedure and how some of the forensics just aren't adding up. And well, I mean, there's a lot of things that aren't adding up. But I am going to take questions. I'm going to try to limit those to like police procedure questions, because I don't want to go outside my lane, and I don't want to speak out of turn on something. And I'm very comfortable telling you I don't know, or I can't answer that, because I think it's a lot easier to maintain your credibility if you just accept that you don't know everything instead.
And this is what I like about working with him too, because if he wanted to bullshit me, I don't know enough about the law to not get bullshitted. So I'd much rather ask him a question. If he doesn't know, he doesn't know. But if it's some guy that's, self-proclaimed expert and isn't going to admit when he's wrong, and I don't have the chops to call him for it, it wouldn't be a good partnership. So I think this is good.
Instead of just trying to come up with some answer on the fly, and then everybody's like, hey, remember when you said this and you made a complete fool of yourself?
Hey, right. Dorgan, you're here. Welcome.
So that's going to be happening September 22nd, 6:30 p.m. Be with my partner in crime, Katie Zed. She's a wonderful co-host. If you haven't had the chance to see her channel, go over there, take a look. She's got a lot of great videos. She just did a video about cocaine hippos. Hippos that
okay, I got to see the cocaine hippos.
Pablo Escobar had down in Colombia.
We'll start the next live with cocaine hippos.
After they crippled the Medellin cartel, nobody knew what to do with these hippos. And they're kind of ill-tempered, and they're kind of creating a nuisance down there. But they've kind of become sort of a landmark. But it's left the country trying to figure out what in the world are we going to do with these things. I'd also like to say thank you to some new subscribers. I started teaching a criminology course.
My thank you to everyone who has subscribed to his channel through all of the videos we've done. This is the last of them, so if you haven't subscribed to his channel, might be a good idea, because we may alternate where, a show's hosted on his channel. It's still the two of us, me doing the production, but, we need to share the viewership and let his viewers know that he's active again too. So
at a college here in Texas, and some of my students wanted to show support, and they got on here and they subscribed. So y'all, thank you so much for that. Some of my classmates from law school found out that I host Cowboy Criminology and that I'm also a professor of criminology, and so they wanted to show their support. So to all of you, thank you very much, y'all. I cannot overstate or understate. I'm not really sure which one of those applies. I cannot overemphasize how important it is for y'all to show up on September 22nd. I'm going to be making a huge, huge announcement. It's something very cool, something I'm very proud of, and something I'm very excited about. So, but you really want to be there, because
and we missed it.
it's gonna be something cool.
It might be his book, and this we'll let him finish, but he's sending me a copy of his book, and this very well might be a direction that I take with him as well.
So y'all,
one more minute.
I'm Derek Judd, the Cowboy Criminologist for Cowboy Criminology. It's time for me to hit the books. Y'all take care. Have a great one.
All right, that was the Cowboy. We will cut her back to me. I'm back to full screen. Okay. And this always makes me feel nervous. You know what? I'm just going to bring up a screen in front of the screen, and I'm going to look at something different instead of myself. But I'm still looking at you. No, this is distracting too. He sent me a copy of his book. I will look at myself because this is not working at all. his book is about murderers that live among us. So I think it might be fun to, read an excerpt from the book and then do back and forth. Maybe I do some research on whatever guy he's talking about in the book. And we can do episodes on certain bits. So there's that to look forward to. Thank you. Detective Wolbefit has just pinned the channel in chat. So if anyone wants to subscribe, I'm just going to be rambling a little bit here, so you're not going to miss anything big. We're probably about 5 to 10 minutes from wrapping up the show as well. You know what? I do need a tiny bit of a break. No, that's no good because it's a different show now. Okay. Getting late, feeling fractious. Other opportunities to move forward. What else do we have? The cocaine hippos. I do know a little about that myself. Pablo Escobar imported hippos and, had lots of cocaine, so he gave them to the hippos. When they took down the compound, they were left with these hippos. They couldn't just put them down, but they're addicted to cocaine, so they're a little bit dangerous to release into the wilds. I'm interested to find out more about them because I just knew that they were a problem. Let me change the properties to this. We'll do that, and that. Does that change it? There we go. Do this for about 30 seconds. What else did I have to talk about? The bells will wake up anyone who's still in the chat that has fallen asleep. Okay, that is that. We'll go back to me. And we're back.
Have you ever caught your cat staring at you with those deep, unblinking eyes? Almost like they're reading your mind? Well, here's something you...
Background window just activated. That's no good. Okay, we're back. I wanted to be able to kind of do a proper wrap-up, and I feel like I'm all fractious. I don't remember what I had planned to talk about. We'll just plug some stuff. If you missed the morning show, we had a lot of fun. We did Sarah Boone personality tests. We answered them as a group. There's a lot of obvious answers. There was some that we needed to do some chat discussion, but we came to some good consensus. And then we entered them into Google AI and said, what if a narcissist had an ENFP personality? And so we got around the fact that most of these tests blow smoke up your ass, and whatever personality you have, they're like, that's a great personality. Go rule the world. By combining narcissist with each personality test, we narrowed down her profile to a very specific and very insightful, like considering the fact that it was AI and, some of the tests we put in were kind of, hokey, not psychological at all. Some of them were detailed, like we didn't just have fun. We were doing intense research. Little investigative journalism as a group, but yeah, so check that out. That's processing but available now. If you wait for it to fully process, you'll get the live chat replay too. This is going to go up with a live chat replay as well. Got 39 people still in chat. That's fantastic. I can't believe you guys have stayed up with me this long. This is going to be a regular thing. If you're here with me for the first time, every Friday is my day for streaming. I'll do at least one stream, but ideally I'll do an early morning stream. If there's court going on like there is right now with the Corey Richins trial, I'll start about 2 hours before court does, and we'll just chill, have coffee, have fun, talk bullshit. The evening stream, I like to get a little grittier. We'll get into crime. We'll get into, more deep dive aspects of the true crime world. Thank you, Ann Janeski, for sticking around this long, getting to sleep now, maybe still listening to the voices. It fades off. I see a couple double Z's. ZZ makes me think of ZZ Top. I used to play indoor soccer, and my only goal I ever scored was with LaGrange playing in the background. was all the time. There's a lot of mumbling, but it's got a good vibe. It's got a good vibe. Just like this chat has a good vibe. What else besides that? Classified Crime was in the chat tonight. We've been talking. I'm going to have Classified Crime on as a guest. She was the first YouTube creator to have me as a guest, and I'll be returning the favor. We're still working out exactly what the agenda is, so we'll talk more about that in the future, but look forward to Classified Crime joining Dan D True Crime, and little C2D2 will be back on the airwaves, so got that to look forward to. Check out the community page for the Chewbacca defense clip from Legal Eagle, as well as Brother Counsel. Kind of tears the asshole lawyer a new one. It was from the day one coverage, so if you enjoy seeing him get dressed down, that's fun too. I think we're done. If you are new to the channel, thank you for being here. If you're a new member, thank you for being a member. If you were gifted a member, thank you to the gifter, and I think that's enough thank yous. I'm Canadian, so I'll add it in, and I'm sorry for anything I should be sorry for. Apply it as you will. You guys are the finest and the dandiest. I am Dan D.